3rd from the Penn Township Board of Supervisors referenced the Municipal Authority and the DeKoven Wastewater Treatment Facility and the connection thereof to be completed as per this letter would indicate that it should be completed on or before April the 4th of this calendar year. As everybody's aware, I think we've had a terribly hard winter, and I asked my contractors, Mr. Barr, who's excavation, and Mr. Hake, who's mechanical contractor, to be here just in case you had questions I couldn't answer. But as far as frozen ground and snow piles and mud and crud and everything else that we might be dealing with here, that may or may not be possible. So I'm probably going to request a continuance of that. I have spoken to Sean Arbaugh at DEP regarding this matter. I have a correspondence from him that I can give you tonight that I have 4 copies of it. I guess I should have had more, but would you all like to read that? I think that's all the same thing, Sam. Give me this. I have it. Indicating that DEP's aware of that issue and is acceptable to the fact that this may take longer than that deadline. These 2 gentlemen are, as it stands right now, the ones that are going to be doing this project for me. And that is in process. I know Mr. Barr has spoken with Sam, and the engineer that I'm speaking with has asked about daily flow rates and stuff, and I have that here, so if that's in question, I haven't taken the time to sit down and average daily, but it's pretty close every day. And I think, if I understand right, Rich, there was a question about how many gallons a day.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, there's 2 different ways. That's one of my questions that I have. I didn't know you were already working with an engineer. That's one of the questions I had for the authority.
Well, I'm working with an engineer because one of the partners in the corporation is an engineer.
Okay.
So as far as, it's easy for me to communicate with him and find out what we need to know. But the daily water usage in the last 5 months is here.
Is the authority going to ask for an engineered design for this system?
I'm going to say we are. So we have a specifications that, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to have to abide to.
Okay.
Okay? They are available in our office. If I'm
I
not mistaken.
have a copy of that.
You have a copy of that?
Yes.
Yeah, that was my understanding. I think the question was, and you all can correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe both of you. There's apparently some question as to whether or not, I think, is the township's standard or theory saying that there needs to be a 4,000 gallon capacity grinder pump, if that's the proper term? Or do we know that?
It's my understanding there's 10 units, and DEP's normal requirement for that would be 400 gallons per day per unit, which would put us at a 4,000 gallon per day system. Mike has paperwork indicating that they're only using an average of 2,000 gallons a day. So the question there, I guess, would be, where do we design the system for 2,000 gallons a day or for 4,000 gallons a day?
Okay.
You're on.
Sure.
I got a question here before you answer that question. I was looking through the specifications that we were supposed to do here.
Mm-hmm.
I could not find anything in there related to the pump stations, like for the one that we still told Morrison that he was going to have to put in, or the one that we have down at Lower Duncannon and Main Street and Little Boston. I couldn't find anything in there about this.
Well, what we had passed was a resolution for a pump station resolution back in 2013, specifically for that. And yes, to answer your question, we would want this pump station to be engineered. So I don't know if that answers your question, Sam. There was a separate resolution developed and accepted and adopted by resolution by the authority, back in, was it maybe October? I think is when, about that time frame. Is that
Well, I thought we did, that's why
Yeah.
I didn't see it in the book, in your.
in the
In the new one.
in the sanitary sewer?
Right, and
Yeah.
I was just wondering where it was.
Yeah, that's where it is. It's a separate resolution.
Is that a standardized thing, or is that just in reference to this particular situation?
No, that is a standardized document
Okay.
that's applicable to all the projects. And in this case, what we're trying to do is and that is a pump station resolution, and but in this case, what we're looking, that would be for and I got to backtrack a little bit because I'm thinking about this. This is an E1 system. The pump station resolution I am speaking about, is for like a bigger size facility, okay? And that wouldn't be applicable under these circumstances because we want to standardize on the E1 grinder pumps. And the reason that is the case is because what we already have down there is an E1 grinder pump system, and we want to be able to have the systems compatible with one another.
We don't have anything down there currently.
No, not you, but the additional,
You mean
the
the
existing
town.
residents that are there are on the E1 grinder pump system. Okay, so I do stand corrected. There is a pump station resolution, but in this case, it's not. It's really for a bigger, like a residential subdivision plan type of arrangement. But the biggest thing that I came up with was talking to Mr. Barr and noting that he said there would be 2,000 gallons per day as the average daily flow. But checking into this, we had some reason to believe that there's excess of that during high precipitation events.
That could well be, and my understanding from going back into last year was that we were going to, meaning, although I don't know how I don't want to use the term legal, but how far it was agreed on is that we were going to meter this and determine if we have a groundwater infiltration.
Right.
Thank you. I know in many circumstances on this particular property, a substantial number of the sewer lines have been replaced. And I know that because I've done it, or in some cases, he's done it. That is not to say I'm beyond the opinion that there couldn't be groundwater infiltration, because I certainly think there could be.
Right.
And I think the possibility is probably worst case to me, best case to me is probably 50-50, so I don't have any problem metering it and figuring that out and correcting it, obviously, because I don't want to have to deal with that either. That being said, there's going to be a process involved with that, just like everything else. As the board may be well aware, and I'm not going to speak for the township, but this is a much bigger situation for me. I'm dealing with financing and all kinds of things. This is not just as easy for my company to say, well, we'll just do it and write a check. I mean, this is a substantial amount of money with a very long-term, slow return on investment, which I'm not happy about. I don't think anybody would be happy about it. That being said, we both have issues with the DEP that need to be corrected. I've said that in the past. I continue to say it today. I don't want the plant there any more than the DEP or anybody else wants it there. It's expensive and it's cumbersome. I have to have certified operators and chemicals and all kinds of other crap, and that will go away, which is the positive. The negative is I shouldn't have spent $25,000 upgrading that plant when I was told by this board that there was no possibility of hooking up to public sewer 5 years ago, and now today I'm being mandated to hook up to it. That's been brought out in the past. whatever. It's gonna have to happen at this point. So, that being said, I think the reason I came forward tonight is to accept any questions, if I answer them as best I can, or the contractors. And secondly, I think it would be easy to understand for the board. We've had a hard freeze, which is the first time in years, unfortunately. I got cut asphalt, and I obviously don't want to go through chiseling and all kinds of extra expense to dig through, move snow piles and dig through frozen ground. I have reached out to Mr. Arbaugh at DEP. They don't have an issue with it. I don't know if you've all seen the letter there. So I think we probably need to come to some sort of mutually agreeable situation, given the fact that DEP's on board, as to a more realistic time schedule. I would ask for that.
What do you think would that be?
Well, you know, I guess I might have to defer to the experts. I don't know. I mean, I know it's been, you know, we had a water line situation up there not a month or so ago, and I was astonished at how deep the ground was frozen. I mean, we had to literally wrecking bar chisel through this stuff because the backhoe wouldn't break it. That's not an experience I've ever had up there until this year. So,
Well, Mr. Ward, the trouble is that the township supervisor set that date. We didn't, as I recall. We
That
didn't
was
set
that was a
date.
suggestion from us.
Oh, was it?
that was my understanding, that the suggestion came from this board.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
And once again, I understand that DEP's involved. I've been in contact with DEP since this whole thing began. And I reached out to Mr. Arbaugh, and he didn't even,
Okay, well then, let's do it this way. We're gonna refer this to your experts. How long is it gonna take you to do this project?
Well, part of the reason I came up here tonight is to get the ball rolling with the engineering and so on, and get some of the questions that we need answered. I don't think it's gonna take very long to get it designed, and
Say, once it's designed and you start,
I don't think the project's gonna take any more than 2 weeks. Once but I had a lot of other questions that
I
pertain
do
to
wanna-
getting it started is why I came up here today.
from a time frame, and I don't think from the time we're digging, I don't think this will be a great big issue. But I do have, as the rules read, you know, it has to be inspected before it's backfilled and so on and so forth, which makes perfect sense. I don't have a problem with that. But I'm probably gonna require more than one inspection, because we're not gonna be able to dig this in one unit, or it would shut off the access to the entire property. So I would probably have to have the excavation done over the one entrance, fill it, open that entrance back up, and then continue on. And you've been up there, but I'm guessing maybe 3, that's just my guess.
What?
As far as, you know, in a perfect world, and I'll defer to him, but I'm envisioning, well, you dig a ditch, you put the stone, the line, and the ditch is open, and whoever inspects it comes up and says, yes, and you backfill it. Well, if I do that, there'll be no access to the entire property while that ditch is open. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm envisioning that we're gonna have to dig, and I'm just spitballing numbers, I don't know the footage, but 200 feet. And then have that approved to be covered in, that opens that entrance back. And then come across the second and third entrance and have that approved, so that we always have an access point into the property, because I don't have access from Schoolhouse Road onto that property, so I can't just dig a 500-foot ditch across the property.
how big of egress and egress are you looking for?
Oh, no, I don't know, enough for traffic, 20 feet, 30 feet, whatever's.
I mean, it might be something that we could overlook and backfill those areas so you have egress and egress and keep on going.
Well, that'd be
You're
fine
only gonna lose
too.
a bell or two, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna put bell and spigot in, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
I just,
as long as the engineer as long as the inspector would see that being installed and that was filled in properly, you know what I'm saying? That may be something that can be overcome, so not
well, that's
impact
all
that
I'm asking.
operation.
Yeah,
okay? That's something that comes and gets negotiated as the job gets through. I don't see that being an issue.
Okay, well, that was
Okay.
just one of the things I was thinking.
It's not something that's uncommon to do.
Okay. Well, this is all new to me.
Okay.
You know, I mean, so,
I'm fairly familiar with that stuff. You in agreement?
Yeah, you don't have an escrow account set up, right, with us?
no.
All right, in order for the engineers to review your drawings and for to do the inspections and stuff, you're gonna need to set up an escrow account from us, cause you pay for those.
Okay, well,
Right.
I can do that as soon as I can do that, which is not this minute, but.
No, it's, we start them with $2,500, and if there's anything left over, whenever we're done, you get reimbursed that.
Okay.
And you have a completion date of what right now?
I don't have a completion date because, you know,
No, what they gave you was April 4th.
oh, April 4th, I'm sorry.
April 4th. Okay, now, you're here asking for an extension. What is your idea of an extension?
I would think, given the fact that I got this letter somewhere in the first week of February, in the dead of winter, I would think safely completion by, say, June 4th, another 60 days. I'd like to get all this behind me, so obviously if it can happen further than that, but I don't know how long it's gonna take, A, the ground to freeze, or, I'm sorry, to thaw. I know how long it took it to freeze. And-
Somewhere along the line, I'm pretty sure by the end of March, it's gonna be thawed out. The farmers are gonna be in the fields, you know, I'm gonna have a garden planted.
By the time we're able to start this, I don't think frost is gonna be an issue anymore.
Okay, by the time, I think you're gonna have more engineering stuff, that I think you're gonna find your excavator's gonna be more than ready to start.
But
all
that
about
could well
same
be, but I don't
timeframe.
wanna have to reapproach the board and say we ran into Boulder, we ran, whatever took place, and have to come revisit the whole thing a second time. I would prefer an on or before date.
I don't know what the rest of the board's wishes are, but I would be willing to give them a 30-day extension, and then go on an as-need basis. I don't really wanna go into details to my reasonings why, but, under certain situations at the present moment that our solicitor is taking care of, I'll leave it at that.
I'm not moving it out to 45 instead of, and I know you're probably looking for 60, like, but, and Henry was looking at 30, and I don't know that ground's gonna be in the next couple of weeks.
I know people are building houses in it right now. I know people within the next 3 weeks want 3 households dug right now, so
Oh,
excavators are working.
That's up to the board to decide. That was the number.
I don't have a problem giving, on personal behalf, on my behalf, or part of the board, of giving an extension, but I'm not interested in, a long
I'd put him
term.
in the beginning of May, if you're gonna give him 30 days from April.
What's 45 give you?
Middle of May.
Yeah, 45 days.
It's an extra 2 weeks.
Who wants to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, we move it out to 45, give him 45 days.
I'll second it.
That's gonna have to be a request to the Penn Township Board of Supervisors.
Well, that's, okay, fine.
And what's your date?
Well, do you have a calendar handy there?
I didn't count them out, but
Oh, wait.
at the end of that week would be May 16.
There's a whole lot of them. Oh, there's a-
Or is it April 4th?
There's May 4th, that's 2 months.
No, it's 1 month.
You want a
Maybe
week,
another
2
2
weeks
weeks.
extra,
That'd be, say,
be the 19th.
May 19th?
yeah, so it's a Monday.
That's a Monday.
That's the motion, and that was the seconded, right? Okay.
Now, what do? We send a letter to the supervisors for their okey dokey?
If
tell him, yeah, I would think you'd have to send it to him and, request them to extend to that date, because we have, Mr. Ward's met with us, and I would think that's, I mean, we're gonna have to communicate back to the Board of Supervisors what we did and why.
First off, we can't make a motion on that unless he's in agreement with it.
Well, I'm in agreement with it to the extent, and you said it, if there's some issue that comes up, we can revisit it. I don't see it being a problem. I mean, if people are digging foundations and stuff, maybe it won't be any problem at all, be done before that. I just don't wanna have to come back and start the
I'm gonna
process all
assume it's
over.
gonna be done before that, if you're being honest and getting things moving here with the engineering and getting it completed and everything else. I don't see an issue with it.
Well, I've spoken to several different companies, all of which it would appear this is not a terribly difficult thing to engineer because it's not a slope and flow or whatever, it's pressure.
It's all straight lines, yeah.
And there was, I guess you probably covered this, I don't know who told me this. Sam was down there that day when DeTraglio was down there, I was speaking to them, and somebody was telling me, well, you may as well put a 2-inch line in, but apparently that's not the case.
You only have an 1.5 inch connection,
No sense in joking.
and if you're gonna use an E1 duplex pump, they're pumped 1.5 inch already, so I don't see any reason for that. I think from what I understand from you, that you are going to require an E1 duplex pump.
Right,
To meet that
because that's
gallons.
what's there now in the other,
Okay.
in the other locations.
That was one of my questions
And it can't,
tonight.
and it has to be compatible, so,
Fine.
right, and that's the standardization of the authority right now for the, it's a grinder pump type, semi, displacement,
It's a good
pump.
pump.
Yeah,
There is a simple, or a duplex pump that will cover this gallonage for sure.
yeah.
My,
So,
my concerns I have right now is the I&I going into this, is it gonna exceed its limits and parameters if we have this I&I? And how is it gonna be addressed promptly to overcome it, because it could become a very dramatic issue.
From what I understand, there's 2 duplex pumps. One of them is rated for 2,000 gallons a day. The next size up is rated for 5,000 gallons,
Okay.
which I would think you're not getting, I think you're gonna end up going with the 5,000 gallon a day
You have a
pump.
motion on the table.
Okay. Got a motion, 45 days, right?
In that letter to the supervisor, did you say on or before?
On or before the
On
19th.
or before, the 19th.
Got a motion, do I hear a second?
I seconded it.
Second, okay, it's been rightly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Need anything else from us?
I have a couple more questions.
Okay.
This engineer that you're talking about, is he willing to design the system and get it to him, or I have somebody that will, if the board approves it?
I will have to ask him that, but you mean if the board approves who you're gonna use?
Yep, because there could be a conflict of interest in their eyes with that.
We'll ask that question because the partner in the company is a civil engineer, a very large engineering company, and he made this sound like this was a frickin' no-brainer, this was simple, and it's easy. However, I don't know that I understood it. An engineer himself had to sign off on it as long as the township's engineer did. If I had somebody who's well-versed in installing these systems, which these gentlemen are, that if your engineer approved it, then why do I need to go hire an engineer, as long as the plan was acceptable?
I don't think there'd be a conflict of interest if somebody designed the system and handed it in, no matter who he is, we're gonna review it. And if it doesn't meet our standards, we're not going to accept it.
Well,
So
that
I don't think
was
there'd
my-
be, I don't think there'd be a conflict of interest in that case. You know what I mean? So,
Well, the answer I got from the partner, once again, who is an engineer, said it's a pressure system. It's gallons in, grinder pump, push it up the line. This is not a complicated thing, as long as it's, buried to the depth they want, has a right size pump and all that. So my impression was, and correct me if I'm wrong, that if Mr. Barr and Hake Mechanicals in combination or singularly, however they're gonna do it, turned in a plan to your engineer and it was acceptable, then to oversimplify it, why should I go hire an outside engineer to take care of that situation? It doesn't seem to be that complicated.
Who's gonna clean up the as-bills and make them right?
I'm sorry?
Who's gonna make sure the as-bills are right at the end of the job? And make sure they're legible, that we can understand them?
Well, being perfectly honest, I don't know what you just asked me.
As-bills. the
As-built
complete-
drawings when the job's done. You have to turn in a set of drawings that shows everything exact and
Johnny, they're cleaned up, drawn up, it's just an addendum to the original engineer drawings up front.
Okay, well, I can either have our partner do that to an acceptable fashion, or you can ask if whoever that is a conflict or not, and we'll have it done.
John Madden's willing to design this project. And I've worked with John a lot, but I also know that he has some other affiliations with the township, and I was talking to Sam to see if he thought that would be a conflict of interest. But means he's not involved with the authority at all, I don't see that it is.
He's the SEO, in case you don't know.
Mhm.
And he really ain't gonna have nothing to do with the inspecting of the system or nothing.
Just the design phase.
Yeah.
Any problems with that? Okay. So, I mean, we're just looking for a legitimate drawing that's gonna be clean and good at the end.
And that's why I'd rather
It's an
they,
engineer
somebody else
drawing,
did it
right?
other than me.
Yes, I mean,
I'm not an
it's-
engineer or an
right.
architect.
The documentation that comes back to us when we take it over is very important.
Mhm. And I'm not capable of doing it. I don't know if your partners,
Well, he's certainly capable of it. He may not want to take it to that level. That's a phone call, and it's no big deal.
I
can
mean, the
call
main
him.
issue makes up is then we almost should request it fairly detailed up front, because all it's gonna do is get tweaked at the end.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So you almost need a set of engineered drawings, is what I'm getting at.
and if you
I
turn
hate
it
to
in
be
the
that
first-
way, but that makes
No,
it simpler for us
I
at the
understand
end.
what you're saying.
Okay?
but
You wanna turn it into their engineer one time for an inspection. You
Yes.
don't want him looking at it 2 times, 3 times, cause you're just eating up your 2,500 in
Yes.
escrow.
Yeah, I was just now picking up on how that was all gonna play out.
I'm
I
looking
get-
out for your benefit
I-
in regards to that. You are
I
correct
get it,
on that.
Henry, now,
Yes.
I'm picking it up now.
I can pretty much guarantee when John designs it and we turn it into,
It'll be good.
that there won't be any
And
problems,
Yeah.
then
maybe some
if there's
questions.
any deviations that happen upon installation, it gets
Then he
addressed
can
and worked
revise
out.
it, turn it in as he had built.
Yep, he tweaks it a little bit and it's all over with. It's not a big deal. It's a simple process.
Yep.
Sounds good
Okay.
to me.
Anything else?
I don't think we resolved the part on the gallonage.
Yeah.
What,
And again, I wanted to bring that up again, is that, again, we look at the 2,000 gallons per day that you're saying is metered. We'd like to get some metering information during protracted wet weather conditions to
Oh.
say,
I forgot about this point, I hate to interrupt.
go
but
ahead.
Apparently, and maybe somebody on the board knows if this is accurate or not, I'm told that I can pull a sample up at the system now and get, obviously not a perfect, but they said a fairly decent idea of how much groundwater infiltration might be in that system. I don't know how that is, but Analytical Laboratories seems to think that's the case.
Mr. Operator, what do you think of that?
Not much.
Okay, I don't know, that's what they told me, and that might be them saying, we'd love to have $450 to do the test.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, let's put it this way. If we end up getting an unexpected monsoon here between the time frame of this project occurs, I think it'd be very beneficial for us to be notified right away of the changes that will occur within that system. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
The
what
meter
they
readings
told-
that you would have.
What they told me is they would want to take a reading before it enters the plant, because the plant is open to the atmosphere. So obviously when it rains, there's lots of excess water in there. But that they would take a reading at the inlet pipe to the plant. And apparently from what they say, there's some sort of standard when somebody uses the washing machine, flushes the commode, whatever, that there's X amount of this, that, and the other thing. So if they took a reading underground during a rain period or something, they would be able to determine, given how many gallons came out of the well to how many parts per million, or whatever the hell they do, I don't know, come into that inlet pipe, as to if there's more water coming in than's coming out of the well.
I mean,
Does
even
that
with the
make any
spring
sense?
thaw, you're gonna
It's a
see
dilution
iron.
ratio. What
Even
it
with
is-
the spring thaw, you're gonna see iron, or you don't need them all instead.
What it is, it's a dilution ratio. They have a standard of amount of waste that the average person sends out of their residence every day. It's a standard.
We have a standard.
Correct, what I'm saying, but it's a standard at average. The average person projects so much waste per so many people per household. And from where it leaves his home to it gets to the plant, there could be a water dilution ratio. That's what he's talking about. That possibly, they will be able to tell the waste from the house to the waste to the tank, how much of it is diluted per how many gallons of water it takes to dilute that from the source to where it dumps.
Have to be on a bacteria level, is that basically what you're saying?
They just look at content.
It's already gone beyond me, but if it seems worthwhile, I'll spend the money and have the test done if that helps us collectively. And if it doesn't seem like it's gonna, then why do it?
I don't
I don't think it will, because you got a choice of 2 pumps, a 2,000 or a 5,000.
Well, 2,000, I would say, we could all agree is not enough, because that's right at the very top end.
So-
And I don't wanna be in a position where I gotta go redo something. So,
Well, how many gallons are you discharging from that on the average?
well, the gallons out are not metered. The percentage of chlorine
Right.
is tested.
So there's
So
no
you have
meter
the
on any
gallons
of
in and the
no
gallons
meter
meter
on the
going out, you're
flow.
not gonna have a good
There's
idea
a
what your
meter on the
infiltration
flow
is.
out of the well.
Oh.
Okay, so I know how many gallons are coming out of the ground into the different dwellings. Theoretically, in a perfect world, barring somebody's washing their car or whatever, and it goes on the ground, that's how much should be coming in. Obviously, it's not a perfect world. But once it hits the plant's open to the atmosphere. So if we have 3 inches of rain, we got however many thousands of gallons that equals in that square footage. So we don't have to monitor gallons out, we have to monitor chlorine levels.
But once this system's up, you will be monitoring what goes out then.
Right.
All right.
And obviously, turns out there's some big deviation, then I guess I'm gonna have to call the company back. I had a company up there that talked about lining. You know, I guess they can go underground, you know, into the pipes and line them, as opposed to digging them up and putting new pipes in, which sounds like it might be advantageous, but I'm hoping it doesn't get to that. I know it won't in some cases, because they're new.
Well, the reason I brought that up is I was led to believe that there used to be a trailer park north on 1115 there between the concrete plant and the
That's all completely cut off.
But I was told that maybe the existing sewer laterals aren't capped or properly abandoned, and that might be the source of the infiltration. So I don't know if you can shed any light on that or not.
It could, and once again, that, I guess, is yet to be determined, but we found the line, the main line, coming from the drop point from that plant. And we cut that line and capped it. So anything that would come into that old system, because that's old terracotta or whatever, it's ceramic or clay or whatever the hell it is. We cut that all and severed it. So that part shouldn't theoretically be a problem, unless there's a line we didn't know about.
Okay.
But we did go out there, I know this is unscientific, during a horrible rain event, and we pulled the cover where that line came in, and there was nothing coming in it.
Did you ever think of televising that? See what it is on the inside, see what you, see
I
where-
think that's what,
see where it is coming from?
Well-
And then if it's only coming from a little section, then you can just fix that section,
well, I
as
think
opposed to digging it all up.
the indication we have so far is there's nothing coming in from that side of the property. Cause it was
No, I'm
severed.
talking through your whole property, everything, you were saying about lining it later on, or,
Mhm.
you know, if, maybe you run a television, camera through it and you can see where,
I
they'll
think
show you the cracks, and they'll
Oh,
show
yeah.
you leaks coming in.
that's what this company I'm talking about that lines them said they would do. Obviously, I'm not trying to spend unneeded money to accomplish this, but if that's what it comes down to and I have to do it, I guess that's what I'll have to do. The lines from the two places up at Schoolhouse are all new lines, the whole way down to the manhole. Cause they broke them when they were fixing another issue up there, so I know they've been replaced. From the wall of the building down to the collection point down where the sheds sit down there. Well, close, up to about, you all won't know, but there's a well house there and one of the sewer lines comes in from 3 different points and then comes into a manhole.
Okay, so I'm gonna say,
Mr. Chairman, if you put I assume you're going to use a 5,000 gallon a day system, is that correct? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm assuming it's gonna be up to after the engineer does the evaluations and checks everything out.
Whatever
yes.
number you arrive at, what is the consequences if that number's exceeded?
Well, I'm gonna assume that we are gonna end up having,
Who is responsible if that number's exceeded and the wet well can't contain what comes into it?
Henry's staring at me.
Guess that means-
I'd like the record to show Henry staring at me.
the issue we have here, you understand what he's saying?
I know exactly what he's saying.
If this thing gets inundated with excessive amounts of water, we cannot control. This is what I've made statements before previously.
I think it
We're
would be,
taking on something here right now that we have no idea what's going on.
I understand that, and so am I.
And that's a big risk for the situation, and if this thing comes up out of this manhole, comes up out of this lid, and trashes everything, there's a lot of issues then too. You see what I'm saying, due to the excess of I&I. We don't know. Normally, we require testing through everything, that's our normal protocol.
Well, I don't,
I think we need to come to some kind of consensus of a little bit more assurance that this is gonna be, I mean, this thing's able to handle some I&I, it's not gonna be able to handle a lot. I mean, you get 2 or 3 days of heavy rain, you're gonna run into some issues. That creek that comes down through there, I've seen that come down through there and just cross that road up the upper end and come down across there and everything else. A lot of water can come down through there.
That's right, there is a creek running
Uh-huh.
through there.
There used to be a pond up there at that one house and it all got washed out one time on the lower side of that Schoolhouse road. I'm very familiar with that, I drive by it almost every day. So, I was raised right there, so I've seen all that in there, I've seen the water come down through that valley and that hollow. And the impact that can have with all that down through there. There is a concern with that. And I think we need to have some kind of insurance or guarantee that we have some tight system. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know how much more I can say about it. I mean, yeah, you're saying you replaced this, you've done this, you've done that, you've done this, you've done that.
but, well, at no point did I say I've replaced all the sewer
Right,
lines on the property, and I haven't, so.
There is a major issue here that this system, even though it may be put in, you know,
Well,
I mean, you probably can't tell me that system didn't overflow a time or two that's already there.
believe it or not, the sewer plant has overflowed on one occasion, and in all honesty, I'm astonished it's only been once. But it was I forget what year it was, but it was a horrific series of rain. And, we had called DEP and then,
That's in your lifetime, or in your
Oh, yeah,
ownership of
yeah,
it. That's not
absolutely.
what's happened since other times.
now that the creek, the drainage, I don't know if, that damn thing's dry sometime. I don't know if it's a
It's
creek or
dry
a drainage or what it is, but
Dry sometimes, but I've seen it get pretty heavy down through there.
that goes into a culvert there. And I've never had that thing breach the culvert. Doesn't mean it never has, because I'm only talking about 6 years. Once again, I was surprised that didn't happen. I don't know where all that water goes. Goes into that culvert. I don't know if it goes to the river or.
It should go to the river, I would imagine.
Eventually.
I was told it goes under the highway and under the railroad bed and comes out on the other side down into the.
Chesapeake Bay.
Yeah,
Sooner
the
or later,
Chesapeake
yeah,
Bay ultimately.
but, we have a concern about that, and, I would like to have personally, I don't know what the rest of the authority would like to see, but I think we'd like to have a little bit of a more comfortable assurance that we have a
Can we do pressure
good
tests on it?
system. That's what I'm kinda looking at. Is there any way that you could come up with a way of testing that would give us some assurance? Normally, we don't take nothing over unless we request a pressure test of our system.
What size is that line through your park?
Everything that I've ever encountered is 4-inch.
Okay.
Now, there was one exception on what would be the southern end of the property at 19, it would have started at 1901 or 3. There used to be trailers over there. Apparently, at one point, there was quite a few of them.
Can you section that off and put pressure on it to see where it's gonna hold pressure?
Honestly, I don't know. I imagine. There's manholes where these collection points are, and you can clearly see when you pop the covers off of them. There's a line coming this way. In this particular example, that was blocked, that concreted over. When we took all those trailers out of there, went down in that collection point and put hydraulic cement in where that inlet was. That particular one, I don't know how big it was, but it was bigger than 4-inch, but it was clay pipe. That's all gone. So I know that's not an issue because none of it exists anymore. The pipes, nothing exists anymore. We took that all out.
It's gonna be tough doing a pressure test on there with the laterals coming into it anyway. You're gonna have to cap every one of those.
I think I would almost have to go unit to unit and cap it where it comes out of the unit
But then you have to get a manhole cap.
to the collection. Right, exactly.
That'd be a job for you.
That'd be a job for Tad.
Is there a possibility that you might be able to get with the field representative and see what you might be able to do to,
The field, what do you mean by
That
field?
would be me.
Oh,
if
okay.
he'd be willing to do that? This I&I thing is, it could be bad, it could be pretty major, it's terracotta pipe. We're in the
Well, I think
process, we're in the
the
process.
board would realize, I'm trying to work with
I
everybody
understand that.
here.
Same
This-
atmosphere if this thing does, just like our operators mentioned. If this thing goes and causes an issue, how's it gonna be handled? Whose responsibility is it?
I couldn't say. I guess that would be a
Okay,
question for
and
people
it's-
above me.
Probably gonna fall on us because we're gonna take it over from the grinder pump out, okay? We've accepted a system of questionable quality. And we have not done that.
Well, I understand that. At the same time, 7 years ago, 5.5 years ago, when I stood up on this property and asked members of this authority, whether it was anybody that was here or not, I'm not saying, but at that time, what about hooking up the public sewer? I was told that was an impossibility. And I spent a substantial amount of money rebuilding that plant, only to find out 3 years into it, I can't get a permit for it because it's not supposed to be there 10 or 12 years ago. So, I'm stuck in a similar situation as everybody else here. Had this all taken place back when it theoretically was supposed to, none of us be sitting here talking about this.
The last thing we wanna do is turn the switch off on the grinder pump and say, we're not taking no more stuff in, and then you're out of business too, because we are inundating our system.
Well, you know, and the situation I've had, and you all have probably heard, I know we covered it somewhat in a previous meeting. I've already decommissioned a building up there because it's not financially feasible to hook it up to sewer at 3,500 times 7 or whatever the hell the number was. And some other issues down there that I've shut down because that's not feasible either. And this is a substantial investment for the corporation that we were never foreseeing. We made a substantial investment in the plant that's there under the knowledge that that was our option. And now the townships had to go spend money to do whatever they did to the line. And now we're gonna have to spend money to do all this thing. So everybody's in a, you know, crappy situation here, no pun intended. But, I mean, I'm doing what I can do with this whole thing. I've had to go to the bank, you know.
The other thing is we have a meeting next Monday. We can, if you can come up with an idea or a suggestion for the issue at hand right there, I think that would be a good time for you to let us know. That way we're not beating this thing to death right now, and it gives you an idea to work something. Whether it's a letter, a discussion,
I
or
just gotta look at my calendar.
It's March 10th.
See if I'm even up here.
our JOAC meeting's at 6:30, it'll probably be over by 7. So you could, I mean, if you wanted to avail yourself, 7 o'clock would be fine. If not, and there's issues there, get in contact with us at the office and see what we can't do, so we're all informed the next time we're together. That way we're all kept abreast on this, okay?
Yeah. Well,
I
I'm
don't think
call
you're gonna
that day,
find
but
this
I probably
authorities
could change it.
not willing to work with you. Same atmosphere, we gotta protect ourselves too.
As do I.
I mean, you can't have this thing coming up out of here on a heavy rain and finding out this system ain't gonna handle it, and then what? I mean, I'm highly concerned about that. I mean, I realize it's terracotta, we're addressing stuff with, another part of our system at the present moment to address, heavy rains in I&I and stuff right now. And, it's been ongoing for a good many years, and we're successfully getting it done. It's a project, it's not cheap, but it's getting done. And somewhere along the line, I'm pretty sure your system's going to have to be upgraded or replaced to eliminate the I&I. We're going to require that.
Well,
understand it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how to say that. I mean, any simple.
I do understand that. I also understand that at some point in the future, which could be 6 months from now, could be 60 years from now, I don't know. I know this much, I'm not going to be involved with it for that period of time. So when we entered into an agreement to purchase that property, the idea was everything you see up there wasn't going to be there anymore. As it turns out, the economy and whatnot, things changed. So end up being multiple landlords, which we never had any desire to be. And here we sit today with yet again, and that the previous stuff doesn't involve this board, but you know, yet again I have another $50,000, $80,000, $100,000 problem. And there's been several up there that were addressed, that big damn hole up there, you know, which that seems simple, we'll fill it with dirt. Well, it's not that simple. You know, DEP's involved, and we gotta do all these different things and take care of that. And that's how come I know a lot of those lines were gone, because they were exposed in that pit. We had to go back through and
Okay.
take care of all that. So
Are you content with where we're at right now so we can move on?
I don't really know that we can do any more right this minute.
Okay.
It
I
doesn't
mean, the
appear.
engineering, till you get the engineering, get things going here, we can discuss this I&I thing, get the field representatives to see what we can do for maybe a test down there. See what we can't do. We need a little bit more assurance that this is not gonna cause us problems when it's raining and carrying on and causing us a lot of grief. I mean, you're gonna see a lot of stuff changing here with the snow melt and the freezing and the thawing and the water tables changing, and you know what I'm saying? So there's gonna be a lot happening here in the next 30 days, 45 days anyhow.
Let's hope.
So,
For the winter we've had, maybe it'll just carry through.
Mother Nature can't do this to us forever.
Let's hope not.
That's what I said a couple of weeks ago.
I have a question. If we give you some assurance by finding out and testing these, and I understand you're requiring a meter now, if we give you the assurance that there's no infiltration, can we eliminate the meter?
Well, one of the possibilities that we looked at is maybe just taking elapsed time off the pumps themselves, because the curves are very steep. So I think if you get the run time on the pumps with the pump performance curve, we would be able to estimate probably the.
Well, yeah, that expense of the meter could offset some of the expense of doing the testing and.
Yeah, because if you used any type of meter like a Flume or a Weir at these flows that we're looking at, it would be probably very inconsistent and wouldn't be accurate, and there might be the cause for blockages to occur, which then would give erroneous meter readings as well. So I think what we looked at, if that's agreeable to the authority members, is maybe looking at maybe elapsed time on the run time on the pumps themselves.
And eliminate the meter.
Well, it'd be a way of metering it
Sure.
based upon the pump.
Versus the meter, another manhole and the chart reader and all that.
Yeah, we would need to have some type of way to document that.
Mhm.
Can't meter it on the outlet side.
What's that?
Another ground.
Positive displacement meter on the outside.
Well, I mean, it's wastewater. I know it's a grinder pump, but we were thinking maybe elapsed time would probably be, if that's
We already have them in our system.
okay.
That was the direction I was already thinking in the beginning.
All right.
Because once we take it over, then we'll be in charge of taking care of the meter and everything. If it's on the other side, everything's taken care of. And our gravity flow has not been what we've had very good success with, have we seen?
I agree with you. The weirs and stuff. I mean, they're
I'm
not
entertained.
really accurate.
I'd entertain a positive displacement.
Okay. Well, that's why I brought that up.
I don't know what the rest of the authority is, but, I'm hesitant to go without a meter, I'm sorry, this issue is, you're really gonna have to prove the system on my behalf, I don't know what the rest of the authority, if we're ready to walk away from the meter.
Well, yeah, I understand. We talked about it in our office, and that's what we were talking about.
So, okay?
Yeah.
You've got your extension, you've got some leeway here, you've got some time to get your drawings up, get things going here. Mother Nature's gonna make the snow melt.
Saturday.
We're still designing it with a meter and a chart reader.
Mike, if you wanna give me a call sometime before Monday, we can get the.
How's,
I don't want to interject this
we don't have chart meters
as
on
an
our-
excuse, but I think as much as I don't really even want to talk about it, it may become important. I have an issue with a child of mine that could be very severe, and we're waiting on a call from Johns Hopkins to get him down there. And if that happens, I may be out of the loop for, I don't know exactly what may happen. It's one of the reasons I'm comfortable with these two contractors, because I've used them in the past, and I think they can probably pick up in my stead, and via phone calls or whatever. That being said, tomorrow, the next day, next month, I don't know for sure. If I agree to be here on the 10th or
Understand,
any
it's not-
time,
I
it
mean,
just may not happen.
a
And that's
letter,
about as
phone
far as I
call,
want to go with
I
it.
mean, with status, keep us updated, I mean, it's as far as presence, I mean,
But pretty much, I think these two gentlemen can probably handle it with me via phone calls, or if necessary, I'll have another partner come up. But neither one of them are local, so
We can spend your money as well as they can.
we always have.
I mean, even if you send us communication for next Monday, that we know where we're at and what we got ideas for. It's,
Well, I'll give you a call, Sam, and I'll get with, I probably should have Jeff out there, he knows where every damn pipe and fitting and everything else is, he's been there 20-some years. so
Let's see
he's-
whether we can figure out some way we can maybe block them off and get.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it at all. If we go look at it and
Well, Jeff knows where everything.
see what's,
I know where
what's
most
up with
of
it, I'm
is.
sure we can come up with a way to try and test it.
We can't spend a lot of time in it because of the financial side of it too, you know what I'm saying? We hate to get down and get an evaluation for you, see what we can do, but your job is gonna be the end result, proving it to us, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I wish it would've all happened a long time ago, before you owned it. Yeah.
Mike, just a point of clarification, did you say you did or you're going to decommission in one or two of the buildings? Now, is that the old motel?
The old motel is shut down, okay? The only water even supplied to that building at this point runs through the basement to supply the double-wide mobile home and stuff that's on the other side. The heating system's out, the electric's off. Matter of fact, we stole 2 toilets out of it to replace other ones with. So that's gonna, I'll probably have to get with this, a permit or whatever, but the plan is just to rent those for dry storage, little places for people to put crap or something. The building's good enough not to tear down, but given the expense, it's not good enough to repair, so, yeah, that's gone. So that's, infiltration from that particular thing, that's easy. We can find the termination point and get rid of that entire line.
Because
And
that would take several units off of that.
that's 7, yeah, there's 7 units there. The other question, I don't really know that it's a question for the board, it's just something I'm trying to wrap my mind around. There's 2 mobile homes on that property that I don't own. I only rent the lots. And there's not much money in that. And I'm questioning whether or not I'm willing to pay a connection fee for these people unless one of them's a real piece of crap. I mean, I'm not belittling the guy, but
That's your problem,
Yeah.
we need to move on, okay? I hate to do that, but we've been here long enough on it.
well, I thought Cece was trying to get at a number and I was trying to help her with that, so.
You okay, Cece?
Yeah, we're good, thank you.
So we're still at 10 units?
9 to 10 as it stands right now. If I had to pick a number right now, I'd say it would be 9. That's really up to Bob, whether he wants to.
That's it?
That's it?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, Susan.
If you can't get a hold of him, just set up a test down there or whatever.
Rob Schaefer, Act One.
Here for the selection of professionals.
You have nothing to offer? Mo? Okay,
No.
next.
Brian Peters, who is is the new supervisor for the township and he is our point of contact among the 3 supervisors. Mr. Peters?
You planning on coming to all these meetings?
I'm going to make every effort to do so, sir.
Okay, you'll notice on our number 5 item is a PTS report. So if any information you need to bring down from the Penn Township Board of Supervisors, we'd appreciate it then.
I can do that.
Did you bring anything tonight?
No, I did not.
Anything else?
Nope, just glad to be here being educated.
That's it.
That's it? Okay. Engineering report.
Okay,
Hey,
go ahead.
How about the haymakers?
Well, they didn't sign in.
They didn't sign
We
in.
didn't want to interrupt.
Sorry.
We're just here about the
Can we
meeting we
get
had
them,
with
get them
Steve.
squared away so we can get them out here?
We can do that, we can address you, okay? See, if
Thank
you
you.
put your name down, that would have happened
I
automatically.
did not want to interrupt the conversation and walk in front of everybody, I apologize.
You want me to tell them about
Go ahead,
Yeah, go
Alan.
ahead.
We had a recent email from DEP.
They did contact you, but I
Yes, they
gave you the
did.
opportunity.
They sent me an
to know.
email and they said that basically, the supervisor for the counties that we have here, I don't know how many counties he has, but he's he's also involved in this process, and he said, anything we come up with, he wants to get a reasonable expectation of our ability to make this connection, and they will put that in the agreement. So we want to come up with an expectation from this gentleman here, and I'll call him and we'll put that in the agreement, so.
So the
That
April
should-
date is not the expect,
No,
it's not.
no, we're gonna come up with a real time.
Thank you.
Leave that
Estimate.
space blank, Susan.
Could you contact me when that date comes up before you
Well,
reply back to
yeah,
DEP?
we're gonna discuss this with our engineer because, we want a real-time date, you know.
We can probably end up getting a good idea of a date for our JOAC meeting.
Okay,
You see what I'm saying?
all right.
In that time frame here, that's another week out, it's Monday, I think that would probably be a good time for
March
us.
10th.
March 10th, yes.
Okay.
Okay, that's kind of our idea. Some of the things, if we can squeeze it in within a week, we try to address them at that meeting, it's been working out pretty good for us. That way it don't carry into next month,
That's
okay,
excellent.
keep things moving.
So I send an email back to DEP, tell them we'll have a date within a week, that's what you want?
Yeah, I think that would be
Or
fair.
do you
I
wanna
think-
wait until we get that date?
Well, I just
How
wanna
soon do you have to respond to them?
Well, he didn't, he didn't say you have to respond by a certain time, but
They
I'll
know
give,
that
I'll
they
call
need
him and tell him. Call him and tell him.
Tell 'em we'll
Could I
give 'em-
ask that if I be carpet on any of the emails, since can I get into?
Yeah, I have
with
a-
me when I was talking with DEP, that we're all on the same page. I think what they're asking is they knew there was a meeting tonight, so if they know it was discussed and it's gonna be followed up with the next meeting, that's the communication they're probably gonna wanna look for, so I agree with you letting them know that you met and you're gonna talk about
Right,
it and have a
yeah.
date within a week.
Right.
And they're not coming back to me.
I think I'll send him an email, I'll call him and then send him an email, so.
Okay.
We ought to be able to come up
Because
with
the-
consensus on the 10th by then, I think, if
Oh,
the engineer can come in agreement with us,
Mhm.
okay?
The two factors are out there, the granting and the engineering report, is that right? The two main factors as to when we can do this?
Well, one of the main factors is the permit, getting the permit information in and getting the permit approved, and then putting together the final construction documents and advertising and bidding, and then the construction itself of the project. So, right
That's
now.
not gonna happen to come up with an estimated time of completion.
What's that?
That's not gonna happen by the next, on the 10th.
No.
But you are going to have an expected time of completion on the 10th.
Well, they're gonna have to get
I'm
it,
asking that question.
Yeah.
they have to have something for their agreement.
Right.
They're working
Right.
on a consent on an agreement,
Understood.
and they want a date put in there. The DEP wants a date put in there.
I want a date.
We want a date that's reasonable, not the date that they came up
I
with.
appreciate that, and thank you.
Yeah.
I wanna know when we're off the hook up there.
Or, once everything's good to go, how long does it take to build one of these?
It could be, 9 to 10, 12 months, if everything is streamlined. It could be maybe 12 to 15 if there's weather
From
issues.
the time they break ground to the time they finish it.
Yeah, it could be, yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, we
might not-
wanna make it reasonable, or, real,
Right.
because if they don't meet it, then we're not gonna get penalized, but they are. You know what I mean?
Right.
Is that just phase one, 12 to 15 months?
Yeah, because phase one included the water line, which you'd be connecting to. And again, the other aspect of it that I didn't talk about would be the grant monies. Are you going to proceed with the project if the grant monies aren't awarded?
That's something we're gonna have to discuss.
Yeah. So that all enters into the equation as well. So, but phase one includes about 2,200 feet of 8-inch ductile iron pipe, which would then provide a connection down at Butcher Shop Road with a hydrant, and then that would include the water tank, the treatment building and treatment facilities, the booster pumps, and so forth. So that's all under phase one. Phase 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Those are all pipeline-related projects that would just keep building out the system to replace what's already there up in Sunshine Hills. And those phases would only be, constructed as monies were available to do so. So,
We can't provide water without the tank and the treatment, right, or can we?
no, because
couldn't do
No way
that.
possible.
you're looking
There's
at
no way.
23,000 gallons per day from what the numbers I was given. And what now you have 17,000, so you'd be up to 40,000.
Yeah,
And, you're already probably,
We got 3,000 gallons
Yeah, you
storage
only-
tank, so
3,000
you'd
gallon
be
tank.
pushing water in
Well,
and water out all day
you
long.
actually have less than that,
Anything
Plus you
to
got an inch and a half line down at the bottom.
yeah, those actually, because those are hydropneumatic tanks, so you really
Okay.
don't get the full
Mhm.
All right.
full capacity of those tanks for storage.
You okay?
I just have one question. If the grant doesn't come through, does the authority have the money to still complete phase one?
I think we can make that happen.
I
Now,
think
this
so,
is gonna
too.
happen one way or the other, I hate to say that, but it
We
may
gotta
take-
do it, we gotta get this
It,
done.
it's gonna be very, very hard on the authority financially, and, but it's not impossible. Okay, so,
Engineer said he'd work for nothing.
When's the date that you'll know whether you have the grant or not?
That was supposed to be 1st of March.
How's that working?
We don't know.
What, today's the 5th?
Yeah.
We have about 200,000 already through the county, but we're asking for another 500,000. That's the 500,000, but we don't know about yet.
Okay, I'll just wait to hear from you. I think we're on the same page, that we know what that date is.
yes.
By having the meeting with DEP, I think the three of us are on the same page of what that date needs to be, to keep everybody
Yeah.
happy.
What's your email address, by the way?
Mine,
Yeah.
management, spelled out.
I've got it.
Oh,
I'll give it.
I'll give
to
it.
you.
I'll give it.
I got it.
Anything else?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Anybody else?
Nope.
Get her done.
Okay, now the engineer's report.
Okay. Does everybody have the March 5th in their packets, the report? I've already been writing on it. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, is it okay to proceed then? All right, the low pressure sewer extension, we already talked about that. So I don't think there's any reason to revisit that. Again, well, other than we think that there's some infiltration problems with that, and we would like to see that repaired and fixed prior to the Mr. Ward connecting to the authority system. Sunshine Hills Water Treatment and Storage Project. We're in the process of designing the project in that we have some drawings and so forth. We're probably, here's what we have to date, and from a permitting standpoint, we're probably, I would think, 70% complete in the preparation of the drawings for the submission of the permit. We're probably a little less than maybe 60% complete for turning these into construction drawings where we're putting all the details and necessary information on the drawings. Okay. So what I'm looking to do is possibly submitting this permit application to DEP probably within the next week or so. All right. So I've done the hydraulic calculations for the most part. Just having those checked. I'm going to be completing the modules, the applications, and the information that needs to be submitted to DEP. Then we'll need to finalize the specifications and so forth that need to be submitted as part of the DEP requirements. Once we get that and the permit is received or approved, then we'll go into finalizing for construction. Okay, the drawings. And I hesitate in because maybe the unknown is how long it will take DEP to review the permit application. That's and getting that in the to the point where then we can get approval and then go from there into the final construction and into the bidding phases of the project. what I brought with me tonight is a public water supply application. It's going to need to be signed. And also I brought a 4-log determination that's going to need to be signed by the authority. Once those are signed, they need to be, I'll need a check in the amount of $750 to submit that to DEP. I don't.
Would you say that 4-log was?
Pardon me?
Would you say that 4-log thing was?
It's a 4-log demonstration form. And I brought that information with me. I put Henry's name on as the authority chairman, as the responsible official. And I would need that signature. I need it notarized, the application, but I can act as your, let me see. I have the authority to make this application, so I would be acting as your agent. When I sign it, I'll get our office to notarize this form. And then on the 4-log demonstration calculations, same thing here. I'm going to need the operator, Ed, to sign off on this. And then again, I'll act as an agent and then have this sign the form and have it notarized in our office, okay?
And how much did you say it was going to be?
The check to DEP is for the public water supply application. It's $750.
$750.
Yeah, that would need to be made out to I'll give you the exact name, and it should be the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection.
Randy, can I assume that there's substantially no change in the 4-log?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
What I did, Ed, is existing 4-log, what I did is I did modify it because I didn't see the reason to run excessive piping to connect down into the where it is now. So I shortened the length, but by running the additional pipes back to the pump station, I've included that in the new design. So I'm saying in my information to DEP, we're using the existing system, but we're modifying it. Okay, and it's shown on the plans.
Okay, the modifications are for convenience of hookup.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see the point in to leave it as it is, to run all the way from where the new treatment building is all the way almost out to Eisenhower Boulevard. So what I did was I came back to a point where I could still get the 4-log, requirements in the.
Because the pumping rate stays the same.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you.
Yes. If that does that answer your question? Okay.
Now, before you go any further, I'd like to make, put a motion on the floor that we sign the DEP Public Works permit application, public water service application.
Water supply application.
Water supply application and a 4-log demonstration form.
Yep.
And we also provide, cut a check for $750 for DEP for these permits.
I'll second that.
And regularly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
What's the name of
Opposed?
this form for 4-log?
The actual.
What's it called?
It's called a
Oh,
CWS,
my word.
demonstration of 4-log treatment of viruses for groundwater
I think I'll
sources.
just call it a 4-log.
Yeah, that's what I called it, a 4-log demonstration form. So it's a long, drawn out name. Okay.
Next.
Also, I wanted to let you know on the fire pump for the Sunshine Hills Water Treatment and Storage Project, that fire pump's going to need to have 3-phase power because we're looking probably like at a 25 horsepower motor. I don't know if that 3-phase is available up there, which it's probably not because it's residential. Yeah.
Nope.
So with the booster pumps, with sizing those, we can get away with single phase on those, and those are about 7.5 horsepower pumps. So just wanted to, with doing the hydraulic analysis and sizing that, that's just a concern that I have.
So we have to put 3-phase up there?
Yeah.
What's the ways to overcome this?
Well, there is another. We could put more booster pumps in the package and run because if we're using the 3.5, I'd have to evaluate it for that application. But we put more than 2 booster pumps in and just run as many booster pumps as necessary in parallel to.
I think I was under the understanding if we put a fire pump in there, designate it as a fire pump, then there's gonna be other permitting charges that we need to come up with on that. I thought you had said that a couple
What's
months
that?
ago.
You're saying?
For a fire pump.
Yeah.
If we put a booster pump in there, say, and designate it as a fire pump, then that takes other.
Well, no, that's what a fire
So if
flow
we could-
pump. Yeah, I did.
So if we can put
We can't
other-
technically call it a fire pump. I mean, I'm calling it that now just for simplicity purposes. But if we call it a fire pump, you need to get FM and UL designations on that pump.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, but and it's actually going to be a fire flow pump. Okay, I mean, you're absolutely correct.
So you're saying we can put an additional booster pump on?
Well, it might require an
achieve the same?
additional, more than one additional booster pump because, we might need, those packages you come in, you can get up to 6 pumps. And right now, we're running 2 pumps for the booster pumps as it's designed for just the regular service.
I'm looking at where's the least expensive out to get them to run 3-phase up there or to put additional pumps in.
Well, let me ask you
Probably
this.
3-phase. Go ahead.
I asked you how you overcome this.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna make our own 3-phase up there, why don't we use that? It's there. Kinda crazy to run more of it up there, if we ain't gonna use it other than when it's demanded.
Oh, you're talking about the generator?
Yeah,
That's what I thought he was talking
You're saying
about.
just run it off the generator.
it's gonna be a 3-phase generator.
Yeah.
When the demand comes on, the generator comes on.
Good thought.
Work? I mean, that's why I asked. Ways to overcome this stuff, you know? Is that possible?
We'll just have to have it interlocked with the generator. Yeah.
Fire pumps ain't uncommon, they have their own systems anyhow a lot of times.
Okay.
What's the matter?
All right. The other issue still remaining. Oh, is there anything else?
Can I just interrupt for one moment?
Go ahead.
I just got an emergency phone call. My wife's mother fell.
Oh.
I need to pick her up and take her to the emergency. My wife, take her to her mom at the emergency room. So I'm gonna have to excuse myself. Okay, thank you.
Yep, thanks for coming.
The other thing, in order to finalize the drawings and what we're going down there by Butcher Shop Road is, I talked to Dennis just as last week, I guess, about the water line easement near the Eichelberger property. So,
I'll finish my review and get to you.
Okay, yeah, because we'll need that to finish start that phase 1 drawings, because we'll still need to do the alignment down through that area and then run some profiles and things. Stone Mill Estate Sewer and Water System Plan, we've been told to be put on hold. Haven't been given any indications that that's changed. So I assume the escrow account still hasn't been replenished by the developer.
No.
Morrison Sewer Extension Project, again, we're told to be put on hold. Again, Mr. Morrison's escrow account hasn't been replenished. Chapter 94 reports, the Chapter 94 report for Cove and the supplemental Chapter 94 for Duncan and Borough have been forwarded to the authority for review and approval. We're looking possibly tonight, if you've reviewed and can approve those, so we can submit by March 31st, which is the deadline for those Chapter 94 reports to be submitted to DEP. And we've done some of the flow analysis report to include that information in the Chapter 94s where it was required, but we'll actually finish and finalize that flow analysis report here in April.
Question
Go ahead.
for the field representative. On the loading information for the Duncannon Borough there, you're more familiar with this than most of us. Are we accurate on our EDU counts that we've been accumulating, or we've picked up extra almost every year that we've been doing? Have we not?
You talking about the flows out?
Yeah, as far as new EDUs going in.
They're using our meter flows.
But my new building lots and stuff like we've picked up extra units. Are we still within the range of it, or should we project a couple more? You understand what I'm trying to say?
I understand where you're at now.
These lots, we've built how many houses up on the hill?
There's two there now and
Another one coming.
And another one coming. Yeah, so we'd have to change.
What I'm trying to say, you think we need to tweak it or leave it the way it is?
Right now, I think we just leave it the way it is because there's not.
Yeah, there's not.
You know,
We're pretty close to
for
it.
next year, we'd have to bump it probably three additional EDUs up there. But other
I
than
think
that,
you'll find that our flows are down a good bit
yeah.
per EDU.
So you want approval for the 94 report? Is that?
Yeah,
Is that what here?
right, the Chapter 94 report for Cove and then the supplemental
I read that.
information for Duncan Borough.
And did you get those?
Yeah, I looked at them yesterday. There's one here. Yeah, I did look at it.
So, again, they need to be submitted to DEP by the 31st of this month, but if you have any questions or concerns or revisions, we can make those. And then, if it's okay as it stands, then, we would just look for approval tonight.
Anybody have any problem with it?
Make a motion, we approve the Chapter 94 report?
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay. And again, we'll finalize the flow analysis report and forward that to you guys in April. Sanitary sewer construction material specifications for developer. I have a note to myself about that E1 pump. That I can't say it is or isn't in there, but I'll check. And my mistake on thinking the pump resolution, but that was a totally different issue. The other thing, once, if you do find these are acceptable, Dennis, do we need to adopt these by resolution? I wanted to check with you on that.
I think that it should be.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Did you have a chance to look mine yet?
Yeah, I went through them, but I'm a little confused about what was deviated from or what
You
was.
see that note that I put on that one? That was not for that. That was for the 94 report that I just approved. I forgot about that.
What, the little sticker?
Yeah. It says there was no construction done on the cove portion, but when did we do the lower,
Yeah,
the northern extension?
Well, you're saying about the project that we just did with the trail, yeah?
Yeah, did it finish in January?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
then
why we
there you go,
didn't,
never
we
mind.
didn't do it for that because there was no connections and it was only completed in January. We figured we'd put that
The
into.
project upgrade with no connections to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we figured in 2014 we'll include that.
I'd like
Okay.
to move that we accept the developer specifications for the sewer facilities.
Second.
Regularly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
So that's a resolution. Is that what I understood you to say?
Yeah, I think you could call it a resolution.
So it would be resolution 2014-02.
Yeah,
And then it goes in the
So moved.
resolution book.
so moved.
That's it for you?
I believe so, unless you have any other questions for me. I guess, when do we talk about the schedule and so forth? Is that something you want to, for the Fouts property? And
I'd like to do it as soon as we can. I mean, we gotta get back to DEP.
Yeah.
We don't wanna, since they,
What's a realistic number?
what's a real, yeah, that's what we need to know.
Well, here's the thing that I'm
A
thinking is,
realistic date, right?
I don't, the thing is, it's gonna be contingent upon
Here,
DEP.
Let's do it this way.
Yeah,
You go, take a look at it, evaluate it, send us an email.
okay.
And then we'll have a decision here, we'll discuss it a little bit, and we'll have a decision before next Monday.
So we can have it for the 10th,
Yep,
Yeah.
all right?
okay?
But my biggest concern is the,
You express your
yeah,
concerns
is
and where we're at, so we can
is the
figure out,
DEP review and approval, yeah.
and hopefully we can find out where this grant money's at
Yeah.
in that time frame, and we'll have to just make an educated guess. I hate to say that, but that's kind of what it's gonna be, and make sure we put enough fluff in it to cover it, you know what I'm saying? But he's looking 18 months, you're at 18 months, on top of where we're at right now, you throw another 6 months, you're looking at 2 years.
No, I don't wanna wait. I wanna get this expedited as quickly
Yeah,
as
but I
possible.
mean, we
Yeah.
got the potential to go on, it's 18 months to 2 years is where you're at, schedule-wise. You're pretty close. Get this thing completed. Throw a
Right.
fire hydrant down the bottom. How much sooner can you do it? You see any sooner? You said 12 to 18 months to build it, right?
I said 9 to 12, probably.
9 to 12?
Yeah, possibly.
Okay.
You know, it could be a little longer, could be 12 to 15, but I'm thinking 9 to 12 is probably,
What 15,
Realistic.
what would they be?
well, here's the thing, once you start spanning over the winter, if we have to do that, now we're back into what we are now.
Yep.
So, you
You
know,
look into your crystal ball and come up with a realistic date,
That'd be June.
or, you know, a date that you feel that we can comfortably say that we can be ready for them to connect.
June
Yeah.
of 2015?
yeah.
That's.
I'm gonna
that
start
would-
now.
That would be,
Would
yeah.
that, you want me to respond with that date? Tell
Well,
the-
let me look at it, I'm gonna check it over with Bill, get his thoughts on it too.
All right.
I don't wanna overlook something and
Then I'll
then,
send an email.
Yeah.
You'll send us some emails.
I'll send you an email,
And then,
Friday or Monday morning,
Friday.
okay?
Elmer,
yeah.
it might be 15 months from time DEP approves. the
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, yeah, yeah. We're gonna,
That you have to tell Mr. Machucci that it's X number of months from the time we get DEP's permission to build.
It's a good point.
yeah,
Put it back on them, get him off, put it on his burner.
All right, you know how to handle those people better than I do.
Town's pretty good.
Well, we got some improvement over what was the first
Yeah.
presented, so I don't wanna.
You must have did a real good job.
I don't wanna press my luck, if you know what I mean.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Okay,
yep.
are we done?
I'm done.
I have a question for him. Number one, I'm going to cut the check and make sure it's available for Monday night signature, so can you email me the,
I'll give you the name, the exact name.
yeah, just email it to Karen or
yeah.
whatever, okay? So I
I
know.
believe it's probably Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Right,
Uh,
I'll do that, but then I can always add on. Number two, does the operator sign this tonight?
Henry's supposed to, I have him down as the chairman for this. And then
Okay.
what it's asking for here, if Ed reviews this and he sees fit for that to occur, I need him to put in his signature, name, and his title, and I'll put in the date, and it just needs the address. So this would be Ed. I'll get it, because I can act as, it says I have the authority to make this application, I'll be acting as your agent. So whenever I sign and date it, I'll get our office to notarize this and that.
So you don't need that tonight then?
No, but it's, this is,
All right, so
Okay.
he signs it up here and also way down here under the affidavit, right? Signature of certified operator,
yeah.
okay, right
Yep.
there and up here. Okay.
Well, you know what? You know, is there anybody here a notary?
How long is a notary? Just township secretary?
Have Ed do this and have it notarized when he signs it. Have her do this and then I'll just sign, because I was,
Right,
yep,
okay,
yep.
all right.
Now, is there any time frame on that? Do you need that in the next day or two?
No, I'm thinking I want to get this all put together for end of next week or beginning of the
Okay, well, we
following
don't
week.
wanna hold it up any longer.
No,
We
because
wanna
I gotta,
get moving.
I'm moving on all the modules and applications and the specs and.
Like
and
Elmer said, he got a much better reaction than he had, and we wanna make sure that we back him up with that.
And this permit's only 2 pages, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yep,
done with you.
okay.
Do we want to move the reorg up? Or do we wanna hold it to the end?
Well, hold at the end, we gotta keep him and pay him for the end.
Does he need to be here for that?
No, if he wants to find out,
I think we should. Yeah, let's do it.
Move it up?
oh, no problem.
Okay. I'll see if I can get this right. We're gonna move into the reorganization of the professional staff and field service representation. We have, what do we have left, Susan? We have engineering and solicitor, right?
Yes,
Is that it?
that's it.
Okay. Let's address the solicitor first.
Move that we continue our business and associate with Collector and Farron and Dennis Chateau.
Second.
Okay.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Appreciate it.
Engineers. Do I hear a motion? We've had a discussion, executive session, and we've had some pretty competitive structures on this. That's why we ended up having a discussion. Do I hear a motion for an engineer?
I make a motion that we continue to have Bill Hill act as our engineer.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been regularly moved and seconded that we accept Hill Engineering as our engineer. Any discussions? All those in favor?
Before you do, I'd just like to say this, I've looked over them all, I've given a lot of thought to this, and I appreciate Act One's proposal. I thought it was an excellent proposal. There were some issues that I had with, I hate to use the word competition, but that's exactly what it is. And so with some minor issues with me, I have my mind set on what I want to do.
I think we looked at these long and hard. We had a good hard discussion on this. I think everybody can understand that we've everybody put in their best effort in the submittals. And, I think it was all very well documented with all of them there. So we have a motion and seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
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 Jim, point of clarification, did you say you have an issue with competition?
Well,
Was that the word you used? Just so I can put it down.
maybe I didn't state that the right way. No, it wasn't, I don't think that's exactly what I said.
Okay.
It was, I said that Act One's proposal was excellent,
Mm-hmm.
and I had some, a couple of issues,
Okay,
put it that way.
all right.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah,
Submit the
thank you.
proposal. Maybe you'll see another one from us next year.
It, Yeah, don't go away, Rob.
We won't.
That was part of the discussion.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See ya. Take care. Take care.
Now, do you wanna reappoint me or not?
I'll make a motion to reappoint Sam.
I'll second that.
As what?
Yeah, no, I know. As our field service representative of the Penn Township Municipal Authority.
I will abstain from this vote.
Wait, you're allowed to vote for yourself.
I don't do that.
Somebody second it already?
Yeah, I
I
did.
don't know, I think Cece did that.
Any discussion? All those in favor of giving consent by saying aye?
Aye.
And while we're, oh, okay, I'm sorry. And while we're working on the reorganization,
Thanks.
I'd like to take this opportunity to separate the assistant secretary and the assistant treasurer's positions and nominate Cece as the assistant treasurer.
I'll second that.
Wait till I get the food and then you make a motion. You know why he did that? Because I told him as assistant treasurer, I'm going away in July and I'm not gonna be around to get ready for the meeting.
No, you weren't supposed to tell Cece that. You weren't supposed to tell Cece that.
You,
All right.
did you seconded it, Jim?
Yeah, Jim did.
It's been regularly moved and seconded that we separate the assistant secretary and assistant treasurer.
Yeah.
Assistant secretary being Sam Ox, treasurer being CC. All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I will abstain from that vote.
And are you abstaining from that one too?
I think I made it.
Okay, that's true.
All right, operators report.
All right, hey, thank you very much.
Thank you, Randy.
Not at first it didn't.
No.
If you're allowed to.
Randy,
Your group left you.
that was a vote of confidence in you, all right?
I know what happened. There's only the signature of the attorney.
Hey, there is one other thing. I think at the last meeting I misstated, I had the dimensions wrong on the tank. It's the 31-foot diameter by 28 feet high. I got them switched. So that's what we're going with. Yeah, I just wanted to make, I had it written down in my little notes and I forgot to. So I think I had it backwards.
Do you like that idea about the
Over it goes.
Yeah, because I wasn't really happy to tell you we need three-phase power.
I know what's supposed to look there, and I ain't
You
going
know,
there.
I think sometimes you gotta think out of the box. He does a very good job.
Well, I wasn't thinking out of the box, because I was thinking,
He does a very good job of that.
We'll hit it one way or the other.
well, I didn't, well, here's the thing, I was thinking like the multiple pumps.
Yeah.
Because if we go 7.5 and put in a series of how many, because those can be, with this manufacturer, you can go up to 10 horsepower. to get single phase.
Randy, do you wanna make a point of clarification on the size of that tank so Susan can put that in the minutes?
Yeah, the tank should be 31 feet in diameter by 28 feet high. I had it backwards at the last meeting.
That's the
and
water storage tank.
that's the
for
water
su-
storage.
31
I'm glad you said
diameter
that.
by how tall?
31 feet diameter by 28 feet high. That's nominal dimensions. That was what we had
I don't think
originally.
they made them in odd numbers diameter.
Yeah, it's gonna be, by the time we take out the freeboard, we got 152 gallons, 152,000 gallons. So I had it backwards and didn't realize I said it and I thought, oh, I wanted to clarify that. So,
Okay.
all right. All right. Hey, thanks for the eggs. We'll see you.
Enjoy.
Hey, don't thank God, you bought them.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
It's gotta be.
I'll get with you.
Hey, tell Bill that they belong to his wife. They are not his, he's not allowed to have any of them.
Yeah.
Operators report.
All right. I'll see you.
Hey, I do need to get back to them, so, you know.
Well, I'll have.
Any issues, Mr.
My
Operator?
concern is with
All right, number one,
they don't give you any.
you'll see some in the bills, new Myers pump, or, Time Electric for $1,900. We were paying $1,800 to have the Myers pumps rebuilt. That was our break-off point, because new ones were costing us $2,850. all of a sudden they're costing us $1,900. In fact, less than $1,900 because that includes the 130 to have the old pump looked at and declared too expensive to fix. So the inspection of a pump submitted for repair, 130, and a new pump have that totaled up now to $1,900. That's $850, $950 off of what we were paying for them. So I bought two. Sam and I discussed it, and we replaced bought two new pumps of the Myers type. If part of the discussion was that if we do decide to turn any over to people and make them theirs, it may be that a new pump would have to be installed before that happens. And since they were a good deal, we went ahead and took advantage of it.
We have not received the invoice for the second one, though.
The second one, yeah, that's correct. The NPDS reports, all the credit goes to Susan and Karen. I did sign them, so they are off to DEP now, I believe.
Oh, yeah. And DEP sent back the certified mail thing, so they received them.
But they did all the work. New pump installed in Sunshine Hill is pumping so fast that I've had to quadruple the chlorine feed rate because it doesn't run long enough to put enough chlorine in it. It's pumping so fast.
Is that due to the line size increase?
I think more to do with the new pump, but maybe the line size increase has some. We're still throttled down to 2-inch on our flexible coupling, but I just thought I'd let you know that the flow meter did come back online on its own. It finally cleared. It was not working after the pump was replaced. So apparently dirt came up the line, even though we flushed it. We flushed the new pump down over the hill before we connected it. It must have pushed something loose in the line coming up underground, but that cleared. So that.
How bad was the old pump?
It's laying up there if you wanna see.
It was bad. I was surprised at the amount of iron and manganese
So in other words,
corrosion
it's
that's
not worth
on those pipes and on that pump.
It's not worth keeping for a spare?
No.
I don't know how you gonna clean them.
I don't know if
I can't see how it could pump. It was so corroded with I mean, you had to see it.
Okay.
I was
So now,
surprised.
we have record of what the last time was we replaced it, 5 years ago?
I don't know. I don't know whether they do or not. Somebody had a number.
Plan on replacing it every 5 years because
That's what I'm getting at.
the corrosion was surprising. I mean, it was.
I mean, we need to start putting this in our budget that we're gonna have this.
Exactly.
Maybe we can budget so much each year and earmark it so we don't take it all out one time. You know what I'm trying to say?
If any of you wanna look at what came out of that well, the piping and the pump is laying down beside the well. And that brings me to another thing. We're gonna have to decide what we're gonna do with that, or we're gonna scrap it. We're gonna tell somebody to go up and pick it up and haul it away, or what?
Most wells do have that kind of corrosion, but this is a bit more than I expected. I mean, I've seen a lot of wells pulled, pumps pulled.
That was new pipe the last time we put it in. Top number of sections
Top
are clear.
2.5, I think it is, isn't it?
2-inch galvanized pipe is almost like new, so I don't know whether anybody's interested or not, or if not, then we'll see if we can get one of the fellows wanting to take it away for the scrap value, I guess, or Sam will, I don't know. I mean, you
It's
not
up
take
to
it
you-
away,
It's up to
but
the authority. what
I don't
we
know,
wanna
how
do.
long would the piping last, Sam? I mean, where there was no water, it was pretty good shape.
Usually
but
what we do is whenever that was new piping put in there the last time.
It was.
So the time before that, when we pulled it out, had we not changed the pipe size today, or in this thing today.
Yeah.
What we would have done was taken those 3 sections at the top, put them down against the pump, and then put up on top, and then
So the
next
piping
year,
might last 10 years, maybe.
possibly, yes,
Okay, and
yes.
the pump every 5 years.
That's a good
Let's do it this
estimate.
way.
Okay.
Why don't you talk to the township and ask them if they're interested in the pipe? They may need it for something. Who knows? And if they don't, then we'll move on from there with it, and we'll make a decision next month,
What about the stainless, what about the pump?
I was gonna say, well, maybe we could contact Eichelbergers and see if they have a pump rehab program.
No, I did.
Okay. Never mind. I don't know what, the pump is a stainless steel Grumpus pump. It's an excellent pump. But whether it can be rehabbed, I don't know. I've never torn one apart to find out. It's a 9 or 10 stage.
It still works, it's just dirty. If you can figure out how to clean it out. Pardon me?
What kind of electric is it?
220.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could,
You can put it in the creek.
can you soak that stuff? I mean,
I have no idea.
I don't know either.
I don't know whether you can, that's a good point. Can you throw it in a creek and just keep running it and running it and running it and have it flush itself?
Well, I was thinking of somebody that might want to irrigate a garden or something with it.
Well, I'm understanding that,
I
but,
mean, you
but I'm
know,
trying to figure out how to
it's not
clean this
dead.
thing. I'm trying to figure out how to clean this thing
Yeah.
out.
Is it just the screen that's clogged? I'll go up and take a look.
No,
I think
it is not just a
It's
screen that's
inside.
clogged. It's, you look at it, on all
It's surprising.
all the ports where the water comes in,
Yep.
it looks like the thing's been set in mud for, and sucked all that stuff in there. And there's only, if there's a 4-inch gap in there, there's probably only an inch where the water's going through it. The rest of it is all plugged up. And it's
Well, the problem with that
It's
is
an
how,
iron
how bad is it started itself and screwed up the impellers and everything else in it for.
it's an iron mud. I have no
You
idea.
understand what I'm
You'd have
trying to say?
you'd have
For
to
putting
put-
it back in that hole, it ain't really worth it.
It's a wonder it didn't burn up.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Well, see, that's what happens to them, and that's why we did change them before. And this was a
We were proactive on this.
proactive on this and saves us some downtime on this. you know?
Yeah, because-
it would have gotten to the point on some days there wouldn't have been enough pressure because it couldn't have kept up with
Yeah.
the demand at the top of the hill on high demand days. Now it just pumps like a mad fool.
Talk to the township, see if they're interested in the pipe. I mean,
And I think if you think you could make use of the pump, you ought to take a look at it. It might be,
I'll take a look at
you
it.
might be able to clean it up better than you think if you wanted to put a little work
But I know
in.
how it is with other pumps and stuff, when they start getting starved like that and there's less flow going in them and everything else, that other stuff wears inside it, and next thing you know, it may work.
Well, you have
Or
trouble,
one
the
system, but-
limestone is about the same thing, it's just a different, I mean, you say have the same problem, but
I mean, it may work for some things, but it's not worth the risk of putting it back down in that hole.
Oh, no.
Okay.
You bring everybody up to the boil water notice scenario. What has happened, that happened on a Friday afternoon. DEP wants you to have 2 days of consecutive clear reports. They must be 16 hours apart, the samples taken. That sounds a little strange, but you could think about 10 o'clock one night and, 6 o'clock the next morning, that's 2 different days, but it's not 16 hours apart. Their requirements are 2 consecutive days of clear testing. So I couldn't take one in Friday because Saturday wasn't available. Took one Monday, took one yesterday. I was to have the report back today. I did not get it back. At 6:10 was the last time I consulted my email. I expected them to have me a clear report. Once I have that, I have to call DEP. I have to call the emergency number if it's after 5. Tell them I got 2 clear reports. Then they say to me, yes, you can lift the boil water notice. Then we have to notify the people. None of that happened today. So there'll be complaints about the length of the boil water thing. I can't help it. I'm disappointed that the lab did not get me the information in a more timely manner. I got them the sample yesterday by 3. They could have had me a result today by 5. They didn't.
so we have one clear sample? Or not?
Well, they did not call me on it, so
Oh.
I'm assuming it is Elmer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if they get a positive result, they must call you right away. And they didn't call me today either, but I also can't call DEP and tell them I got 2 clear results, because I didn't get that from the lab. I just didn't get a notification of a problem. It's a little strange the way things work, but that's the way they are. And so tomorrow, I am leaving for Ceiling Grove at about 5:30 in the morning for class up there all day tomorrow. I'll have to do it from the phone tomorrow. I'll get a hold of the lab, I'll get a hold of DEP, I'll get a hold of the people. Generator repairs. We've had a constant ongoing problem with the new generator at Cove. Sometimes it's out on a shutdown, and sometimes it's not. It goes for months and it works, and then it doesn't work. I met with the generator repair guy on Saturday. When were we to get the big snow that didn't come?
Monday.
Yeah.
I either met with him Saturday or Sunday down there, because it was out on a stop again for probably the 15th or 20th time. And we finally found out that the control box inside the building was set up wrong from the get-go. And it's very complicated to explain this to you, but that system is set up in a manner that when PP&L goes offline, it sits and waits for PP&L to be offline for a minute before it starts to generate. Because PP&L may blink and come right back. Then after it starts the generator, it waits 2 minutes for the generator to get warmed up before it puts the load on it. In reverse, PP&L has to stay online 10 minutes with no blink in the power before this starts a reverse cycle. It takes the load off of the generator, lets the generator cool down for 5 more minutes, and then shuts off. This timing's all to keep things from happening. And now what we found out was it was when it's not when PP&L went offline, but when it was exercising, it went to the generator within seconds of the start. The generator hadn't even come up to RPMs and the load was put on it. And on a nice sunny warm day, it would do it. And on an icy cold winter day, it said and shut off. So there's where we are. There's going to be bills coming in for generator repairs. This is hopefully resolved. That's the end of my report.
Question on the generators.
Yeah.
The maintenance, I was just thinking of that earlier tonight when we started talking about the one up above. When the oil and stuff gets changed in, how often does that happen?
Once a year I stopped doing it.
Okay. But it does get done once a year? Okay.
Stevenson's generator comes and takes services, whatever needs service on the generators.
Checks the antifreeze, checks the oil, changes the oil, services them. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that they weren't long-term neglected, like out with the oil change.
And before he was doing it, the field representative was doing that on a regular basis.
Okay, no problem. I just wanted to make sure that we're not neglecting the
No.
long-term service of
No.
these things, because you don't hear much of it, you know what I'm saying?
Now, Stevenson's come and they give us a report of what they do to each one. They had to fix a hose on the Leonard's Oak State pump station.
Yep.
And they had to they're gonna have to put some new switches and new fuel sensor in the Duncannon, lower Duncannon. That's the one in McGuire's parking lot. They're gonna have to do some more work on that. But the bills that come from them are not exorbitant, in my opinion.
Okay.
No, I think he's very reasonable.
That's
And one thing, Ed did comment that that generator at Cove wastewater treatment plant has been faulty since the day we put it in. And the people that put it in couldn't fix it. So,
Yeah, I remember that was an issue with that coming in there.
Absolutely.
It was delayed for a long time because it was a Cat engine, but it came from overseas, and they couldn't get here in time, yep.
and if this takes care of it, I will be very, very happy.
Good.
We will be reviewing what kind goes in on Sunshine Hill, but it'll have to probably be a turbo generator for the three-phase.
Mm-hmm.
It'll have to have a little bit more kick. Like the one behind Leonard's Oak World is a three-phase generator. That's the reason we can't haul around anywhere else. It won't work anywhere else for us.
I don't know if anybody was in agreement or disagreement with using the generator for fire pumps, but it just seemed like a no-brainer because they don't get used hard anyhow, and the fire system don't get used hard either, so.
Well, and it's probably gonna
It's
have
another chance for it to exercise the generator.
It's gonna have to be a generator big enough to run the fire pump.
Yeah.
So it
So
might as
why
well run
not?
the fire pump because it's gonna cost you
Well, you're gonna probably have 50,000 or better tied up
to
in
get three-phase
up top of the hill.
up there, yeah.
If it stops at that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's,
If it stops at that.
it ain't cheap.
I'm not beyond
The whole new
using 4
infrastructure.
or 6 booster pumps all at once as a fire pump if we can get away with doing that. But that's up to you guys.
I mean, you gotta have the generator, so while it's there, so be it.
Why
No.
not use it?
Yep. It's part of its monthly cycle of startup, you run that through and run the booster pump all at the same time for your test. It's gonna be tested monthly, so program it that works all that. I don't see a problem with it. Okay.
I found it interesting in locations such as Stonebridge Nursing Home.
Mm-hmm.
They have a diesel engine pump for their fire system.
And that was the other option
Sitting
I
right
was
next
gonna
to their
address.
generator pump.
Yeah.
There's two, it's not a generator running a fire pump, it's a generator powered pump. Or I mean,
Diesel
a
pump.
diesel powered
Pump,
fire
yeah.
pump.
I mean, that's the other option. Go buy another motor and put it in there and have it working.
Another maintenance problem.
That's another maintenance problem.
I like the
Probably a
idea
lot
of the
cheap.
generator.
It's a lot cheap,
Probably a lot cheaper than going
three-phase.
three-phase, you know what I'm saying? Okay,
I'm out of here.
field representative.
Thank you.
My report's in there. We did have a report of low water water pressure on Sunshine Hill system. And we found a trailer at, a coach at 619 Lincoln Street. The water had been shut off on that, and we turned back on, and it froze up. And we turned that back off again, and that's since been repaired. And that is at the Diamond Park.
I have a question for the overall structure there. Did we turn it off or did they do it?
For this one,
Yeah.
that was turned off, he turned it off. And he turned it back on because he being Herman Senior, because he had the unit rented. He had it winterized. A woman came in and said that they wanted to rent it. So he turned the water back on that charged system. Well, she couldn't get her finances squared away, so she didn't move in. The building wasn't heated, or the coach wasn't heated, pipe froze.
What I'm getting at is it's a gray area, and I realize shutting that off, but our control point is at the meter station, am I correct?
Our control point is at the master meter station.
Right, at the pit.
Mm-hmm. The one that we put in, yes.
And so basically, we could have shut that whole thing off for that leak.
It was.
We did shut the master meter off? Okay, that's what I was getting at. I wanted to see if this,
It was shut off.
and that probably gets more attention and more effects off of the customer than anything else. The end result is what, you see what I'm getting at? That's-
It spurred him to fix it. It
Yeah.
spurred him to get it fixed. Yes.
I wanted to, that was what the point I was trying to get to. I mean, we spent the money for that service point there, and I think how's that been working out for us?
It's working out very well. In this point, it worked out real well. And that wasn't a hard one to find. We drove by and saw the water running down the road, so I knew where it was, so it was no problem with that. The second item on there is scheduled refueling of the emergency generators. Penn Township's road crew had done that. I mentioned last month that they purchased oil for that. I spoke with Chairman Hallman today, and he said that if it's all right with us, and we have no objections with that, whenever there's generators need refueling in the future, we contact them. They'll take it down and they'll refuel it, and they'll bill us the way they're going to do it for this stuff. And that's going to take a heck of a burden off of Mr. Chisholm and myself to find somebody to fill that, and I'd appreciate that if that'd be all right if we do that.
I have a problem with
All right.
Do you need a motion for that, Sam?
No, consensus is fine. And today I had a call. Ed mentioned about the master meter for the water pump not working. After we put it back on today, I had a call. Actually, Karen had the call early. A resident of 4 Muhlenberg had low to no water pressure, and before I got back down there, get up, check it out, and find out, he called back and said that it was because the strainer clogged. So we did push trash.
We stirred the system up.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And before we put that system back online, before we started pumping that back into the tank, we flushed the well. We ran that until we got clear water up out of the pump, out of that new 3-inch line that we put in there. And then we connected it back and left it go back in. So that's all I
didn't have a problem with the water.
You didn't?
At my place, no.
Well, good. So we did something right, huh?
About time.
Yeah. It's about time. You're absolutely right, it's about time. So that's all I have. Anybody have anything else for me?
No.
Yeah, I apologize for getting you involved with this thing down at Ward's, but
That's no problem, that's my job.
okay, take a look, don't spend a lot of time on it, it's their headache.
Yeah.
But if we can help them get a test on this thing, it's for our own benefit. Maybe, when this thing all comes back, I'm assuming we're only gonna take care of it from the grinder pump out. It's gonna be his responsibility from there in.
It was my understanding.
Okay,
That
that's
was
the
my
way I see it
understanding.
too, you know what I'm saying?
Not only that, the pump, maintenance for that pump is his responsibility as well. So,
I mean, basically.
and that is from a previous motion, a couple, months ago, that the new ones come on or the property owner's responsibility.
I'm assuming if we can put a positive displacement meter on that, that's gonna be 3 or 4 feet away in a man pit. Or a water meter pit, like that we can monitor the meter on that. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I would say
That would be the easiest way to do that?
It would be similar to what we have down in Lower Duncannon Pump Station, because there is a positive displacement pump on that, or meter on that. It comes up, goes out of the pump station, and right directly 3 feet away is another pit, and it has the meter in it.
Okay.
That's what I'd be looking at. Yes, and I should have called Randy whenever he was such it, but I beg to differ with him on that pump station about it being an E1 pump station. I think Morrison's, if it was going to be an E1 station, it would have been a quadruplex. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was looking for in the specification. I couldn't find it. So, and if Susan, if you know where that's at from the meeting that we approved at, then we need that. He said that we approved it in a meeting in October of last year, and I do recall we did that, but I don't recall any other. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm same thing, but I'm not sure. I mean, the amount of EDUs he's
You're
having
not talking,
there.
no, he said about a resolution, but then he said that was for something else. That's what he was talking about. The resolution was passed in October of 2013.
But whenever we were talking and dealing with Morrison regarding the pump, we had specified the type of pump and what pump would be accepted on that. And I think at that time, we adopted that into our specifications. I think.
Going
I mean,
back before October.
He's right there at the 10 EDU window, it's not like,
Yeah.
you know, that.
He said, I think it would have been, but he said it was October, so I don't know. Master meter report, I have nothing, other than they're in the book, you wanna look through them, there's nothing outstanding on that. We do have a, calibration set up for May. I think first or second week in May, I'm not too sure which. So that should take care of, at least, that should do the calibration for, the Cove Pump Station, Kincora, Cove Pump Station, Kincora, wastewater treatment, Cove wastewater treatment, Lower Duncannon Pump Station. That's our, that would be our 4 areas that we need to.
That's it?
Yep.
All right. Supervisor's report, we're not gonna have one. Solicitor, you're up.
Don't have much. This last month was pretty much a washout for me. I do have some collection matters that I will get on top of here and get those started for sale proceedings. The only other thing I have, and I guess now that it's been postponed again, it's not urgent for discussion tonight, it would be the Morrison issue, the hearing. I couldn't attend, I had a funeral to attend, and we had to postpone it. I'm not sure what's happening. When I talked to Mr. Bunt, this isn't for the minutes, this is really an executive session, but we'll just do it during the meeting.
Okay.
You know, he indicates that he understands there's progress from his people, but I'm not hearing the same thing.
Nothing's happened
From here, so.
since December.
And we still have complaints from the nursing home folks?
Well, they were
Okay.
complaining, whether that's been cleared up or
I
not.
don't know.
Isn't Traco still sitting there anymore?
I think it's still there, but the other stuff is moving.
No.
But, Susan, the meeting that we had over in the big room, was that October?
When the ladies were here,
Yeah.
when Cedar Cog was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
it
the
was
one
the
he
same
said
one.
it'd be done by December.
I thought so, that's what I recall.
That was the meeting we
That's
sat there,
correct.
cause that got pretty intense at that meeting.
Yes.
Mhm,
And he said, well, I can have this finished by December.
mhm.
And that statement was in that, and that should be in those minutes.
It is in those minutes, because that's when Mr. Bunn came in and asked you to
Yep.
please drop the civil suit with the
Yep.
district justice.
So we need to, would you like to have a copy of those minutes?
It wouldn't hurt for me yet to have that for purposes of the hearing. But as far as I'm concerned, until somebody tells me otherwise, we're gonna continue on with it.
Right there's your spy, you can take into the
It-
hearing with you.
Take me along.
It won't get continued again, I can tell you that, because the judge we both had a previous one, so he more or less said, we're doing this when it's scheduled, so we're doing it.
Do we need to issue another citation?
Probably not the listens that you have, would you?
You could, I just don't know that it would.
Or is this like
accomplish-
rubbing salt in the wound?
I don't know that it accomplishes anything.
Okay.
You may run the risk that it
Yeah.
rubs the judge the wrong way too, and, you know, that's a little touchy anyway, you know, I don't know what the relationships are between him, and none of this is for the minutes.
I understand that, but it's,
Well, then can you turn it off?
Anything else, Dennis?
No, I
13.
think when we get to the delinquent
13,
accounts,
Susan.
there may be more for me to list, but we'll do it now.
Okay. Treasurer's report.
okay, the delinquent accounts are there from Karen.
Talking to Karen, she needs some directions on what to do with 800 and 163. Trailer park.
That's water.
800's water, 163 is,
And that was all paid up.
Well, it wasn't, yeah.
no, not necessarily.
Oh,
According to her, she said if somebody comes in and pays them up, it goes back down to zero, then
But-
she starts at zero, she starts the process all over again whenever they get up. These guys sent them money, and however, it only took care of what their delinquency was
Before the next billing.
before the next billing, and the next billing come along, and so they never really got back down to zero. She wants to know what to do, where we at.
And her
Keep
comment,
following, Dennis, and keep
well,
moving. Yep.
you mean move forward with the sheriff's?
well, either that or she wants to know if you just put a lien on the property, or, yeah, how,
Well, we can do that, but
She-
that's not gonna get,
It's not gonna get
it's
you
not
money.
gonna get you paid. It seems like the sheriff's sale, in other words, we'll be talking in 2 months, the water will be whatever, 3,000, the sewer will be 10.
I say we keep moving the way we did last time on the.
I think.
it's $1,200 a month for his sewer.
Yeah.
So this is
So
3
that's
months,
already
this is a 3-month delinquency.
Well, unless you see it otherwise, my feeling would be, go ahead and start another sheriff's sale proceeding. Something's gonna happen here, either the bank, his lender is gonna get tired of bailing him out.
Yeah.
Because they paid a lot of money the last time to bring it current. Or the customer will have to pay. But I think, to me, this is the time to try to keep the heat on as opposed to letting it build up to be at, 20 or
Well,
30
it's gonna, by the
thousand.
time it gets
Like the
listed
last
through,
one.
it's still gonna be high enough anyhow.
Yes, yep,
I mean, it's not much you can do about it.
nope,
It grows so fast.
it does, that's the
And that's,
trouble. yep.
that's the problem when it's a business structure, and that's basically what that is.
Does he have trouble collecting this? What is his problem?
I spoke to Mrs. Timler a couple of, well, at least once, and I'm thinking twice, during the course of the efforts to get it brought up to speed, and there wasn't really any, how would I say, excuse offered at all. I mean, as to why this had gotten behind
Okay.
as far as it did. So, now she may not have felt comfortable saying, we can't get the money from our tenants. I don't know, but there was nothing offered to me at all in terms of any kind of an explanation for it.
Okay.
And I thought I made it clear that this is just gonna keep coming round.
How many trailers are over there?
I'm thinking it's close to 20.
There are 20, we bill them for 20 sewers, we just always have, because there were 23 lots. And remember, you lost 3 of the waters during the tariff problems with the PUC.
Lower end.
Yeah, the ones that are on.
We lost
619.
sewer, we lost the sewer for them. There's 23 for water, but there's 23 lots, but you only build 20 sewers. Because the borough gets the others' money.
It just gets, gets to be a big balance very quickly.
I'm gonna say keep going the way we've been going. Any
Okay.
objections?
I have a question on 940. On that particular customer, I noticed now for a while there is a porta potty sitting right outside the door.
I missed that.
That's the one that's down
Yeah.
beside
Yeah.
King's Inn. I missed that one. I
Yeah.
didn't see that.
Yes.
Where is that? Beside?
On
Right
the lower
beside-
side of King's Inn, the trailer.
Oh,
Where the siding looks like it came off of King's Inn.
Yeah, well, yeah, the addition that's not quite added, yeah.
maybe that's porta potties for the police.
No, it's back too far.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that's been sitting there, so,
Is that an issue that we should bring to the township supervisor's attention?
Well, they might want to see if it's permitted, right? Because they have to have a permit for those.
They're supposed to, aren't they?
and they are only special event.
Mhm.
And to the
Yeah,
best
I
of
mean,
my-
sewer's available, he's paying as well.
Yeah, well,
He's
not
connected,
paying, but-
he's connected to sewer.
Good things get froze up too, and you could be in big trouble there too. So you might get down and find out there's, you know, it could be more hardship than what you realize too. You
Yeah.
know, with all this cold weather, but I think it's worth investigating.
Yeah, that's true. That's the only reason to put one in is if your line's frozen.
I mean, if there's an issue with frozen line stuff, you can't, I mean, I wouldn't wanna guess what it's gonna cost.
I'll mention that to Helen tomorrow. See whether she wants to stick her SEO on it or what she wants to do with it.
I don't
I'm sure
have,
it's there.
Yeah, it was there tonight,
Okay.
yeah, when I came up through.
Okay.
I don't have my
I mean,
list with me here, but a lot of these larger ones on here are people that I'm going to be, you know, that they're imminent to be moved.
Well, that's, I had a couple
Yeah.
other ones here highlighted, 91.
Yes.
Two
Oh, that one, a large payment, I just, as a matter of fact, Karen told me today, a substantial payment, at least a check
From her.
for a substantial payment was to be delivered today.
Must have came in after I talked to her.
$900, something like that.
Because I went
Well,
over.
maybe it didn't come
I
in,
went
but it
over
was
these. I went
expected.
over these with her this morning.
Okay.
Or I shouldn't say this morning, this afternoon before. So maybe they didn't. Maybe it didn't come in yet.
It may not have, but I guess there was contact and it was the representation will be in the check.
Right.
So what I said is, well, after it clears, you call me and then we'll sort it out.
And then 219 is that's 2009.
That's one that I'm moving on.
I just did a little calculation. That's 34 months.
Yep. That's definitely on the list.
1024,
Yes, that's on the list.
1055.
Yes. Yeah, I think Darwin might be deceased.
He is. 1142.
I think so. I believe they're out of bankruptcy now. I think we cleared.
He
that
is supposed to
earlier.
be out of bankruptcy.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna make a note of that one because
yeah.
I'm not certain.
And 1150.
I'm not certain of that one. I think so, though.
Okay. And then I got the ones that are listed here is they're showing that they are actually in bankruptcy. Now, granted, we can't bill them or anything, but can we see the ones that are in water? Pretty much all of them have to do with our water system. Can we turn the water off on them?
No.
Or, once they're in
Well, let me
bankruptcy,
think-
they're
think
untouchable?
about that a minute.
Are you saying you're gonna turn the water off because of the sewer, lack of paying for the sewer?
No.
I'm saying up here,
But
up
they
on
haven't-
the top, there's 3 of them up on top.
Yeah?
They're water customers. We can turn water off.
Turn water off because they're not paying
All
water.
right, because
Oh,
they're not paying
water.
They're not paying water. However, you go on down below here, one of those ones up at the top is also a sewer delinquency. Another one, I think,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that. I'm not sure. Generally speaking, you can't take adverse action against somebody when they're in a pending bankruptcy. There are some exceptions, though, that you can do certain things for, depends on the kind of bankruptcy they're in, but sometimes you can proceed for what they call post-petition debt, meaning debt that accrued after they filed bankruptcy. So I have to check. That's a sensitive area, and you don't want to guess wrong.
Oh, yeah,
So
I
I'll
understand that, and
look.
that's why I'm asking you
Yeah.
whether that could be done. And you say
Yeah,
we
'cause that's
could
a
probably.
federal violation if.
No.
When you screw it up.
Now, what did I understand here, you say, once you file the once they filed the bankruptcy, any debt that occurred after the filing of that bankruptcy, you can file against.
The bankruptcy generally just deals with debts that were accrued before the petition was filed.
Okay.
But some of these bankruptcies now are plans. They're plans to get current over a period of time, sometimes as much as 5 years, where they'll submit a plan and say, here's how we're going to deal with our pre-petition claims, and we're going to pay our post-petition claims in accordance with their terms. So that's what I need to see. If there's the fact that they have a plan could give them some protection, even from claims and aggressive action on post-petition claims. You follow me?
But saying that, then, we have filed against.
Because otherwise, you're really interfering with their ability to successfully complete a reorganization plan.
So, John Doe, has filed bankruptcy, and he is into us for $1,500 whenever he filed bankruptcy. However, since that time, he has accrued another $1,500 on us. We are protected for that $1,500, the initial $1,500, correct?
Yes.
We are in jeopardy for the.
No, you're not really in jeopardy, because these aren't going to be dischargeable claims. In other words, they will it's a temporary hold on collection efforts while the bankruptcy is pending. Once it's over, you're going to, you can proceed then, and you're going to get paid then, because they can't discharge these claims.
So we don't have to file again for the additional $1,500.
Just
once
the
we
lien, yeah.
Once we have it set, we don't have to do it again.
No, we don't have to go back in and file.
Okay.
I keep billing them every month.
Yep.
I just don't send them the bill.
I understand you keep billing them every month, but because we're billing them does not mean.
Well, Karen, he puts the liens on them as we get.
It used to be simpler, because almost all bankruptcies were what we call Chapter 7 in the past, which was a liquidation bankruptcy. It was you sold everything and you paid what you could, and you got discharged from what you couldn't. You still couldn't discharge taxes or sewer liens, even in the olden days. Now they have these wage earner plans, and you don't see many Chapter 7s anymore. They're these. It's like a reorganization for a corporate entity, which you've heard of. They have those for individuals now, and that's where most of the bankruptcies fall. Okay. So it sort of muddies the waters. And people really abuse this. I mean, believe it or not, there are people who have been living in their homes for, like 8 to 10 years without making a mortgage payment. The bank will foreclose, try to sell the property to sheriff's sale, they file bankruptcy. They have a 5-year plan to make payments. After making the first 3 or 4 payments, they default. By the time the bank goes in to get the bankruptcy dismissed, another 6 months has gone by or more, and then they're back to square one, and then when they go for the next sale, guess what happens? Another bankruptcy. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. I noticed on the back of these things here, we have 2 others back here too that are super high. Actually, there's 3 of them back here. One of them, it says, is making payments by CC. What's that?
Credit card.
Okay.
She automatically, they gave her the credit card number.
I thought CC was paying.
Yeah, right.
I'll check which of those.
Check those guys on the back.
Yeah, I didn't even look at the back. I'm glad you mentioned that. All right.
I mean, I think we got to start getting people's attention.
Now, in the same light, the tap fees, the installment payments on that, the people that have not held up their end of the bargain in that and not made payments.
Well, some of those folks owe more now than they did whenever
in the beginning, right?
All right, monthly invoices.
Is anything done with that?
I think, if I'm not, she's got another question here, on delinquency.
The tap.
I think that was a contracted for 20 years.
Yeah.
So, I don't know that there's can we do anything about that?
Well, you can if they're not making payments. Let me touch base with Karen about that list, and we'll get.
I mean, if there's a legitimate delinquency on them, we ought to pursue them too.
Yep.
Well, there's $31,000 there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, some of them, it's over 3 years since they've made a payment.
Yep. They need to be motivated, because they ain't even thinking about it anymore.
No.
No, it's just.
And they're hoping we forget about it.
Yep.
Right.
Well, there are liens on, so it isn't gonna get forgotten, but it's also not getting you paid unless there's a sale.
Right.
Let me get an update on those.
Okay.
Karen and I will talk.
Thank you.
Okay, invoices.
Okay, 66,000. The 2 high ones are your engineering bills.
Yeah, they're gonna be for a little bit till you do this thing.
Yeah, the January, the high one was, a lot of that was the water upgrade.
I make a motion, the orders be drawn, the bills be paid.
Second.
Been regularly moved in second. Any discussion? All those in favor, give your consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pay the bills. Financial report.
If you go to the back on the bottom, kind of the bottom right corner where it says earmarked, Sunshine Hill Water System upgrades. There's 184,000 set aside for that. Plus, remember, you have close to 200 in your community, the CDBG grant money that you've already got. So there's close to 400,000 available for that.
That's not shown on there anywhere, is it, Susan?
What?
The CDBG money that's already.
No, because we don't have it, so I can't show it.
Right.
Okay. Right. Once we get it in the bank, and I'm not even sure it works that way. I think we pay it and then, or we send them the bill, or they reimburse. I don't know. We've never done it before.
So basically, we have enough to do the first phase.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
We have that set aside.
You have close to 400,000 plus another 300 over here. That's, you've got 475,000 sitting in project reserve.
Well, that's.
If you notice, the stone mill is under by 1,200, and Morrison is overdrawn, and they were notified, one in November, one in December, so.
I mean, this thing with the money coming up for this treatment plant, if this don't go through, and we go, I mean, it's gonna make us tight, but it's really gonna hurt us.
Well, you have 184 plus the close to 200,000 already given you.
Yeah.
So, and you have a few other little bit extra you can use.
But I
If we
mean,
do it, we're gonna get some revenue too, right away.
Oh, yeah.
At least about 50,000 here. So,
Move to accept the financial report, subject to audit.
Second. Go ahead, Jim.
Been regularly moved and second to accept the financial report subject to audit. Discussion, all those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Speaking of the audit, the auditor is almost finished. She had a few questions to ask me. I have to call her yet again tomorrow about something else. And then all the field work is done. Now, I'm not saying she's going to have you the report because it's tax season now, but they're just about done with everything they need from us.
Okay. Executive Secretary's report.
No, the only thing she had was the questions that I just asked Dennis about the building for.
JOAC meeting, March 10th, 6:30, Municipal Authority, and we will probably have a short meeting afterwards.
we're gonna have to, because you're gonna give me a date.
Hopefully he gets us an email here on Friday, so we got the weekend to think about it. Monday will be the meeting, okay? And outgoing correspondences, anything out there? I didn't get you. Look at them, same with periodicals. Old business, Morrison's headquarters connection, we've kind of discussed that already. Sunshine Water Hill Company project, we more or less discussed that. Stone Mill, discussed that. CGBG grant, I'm assuming you're gonna do a little research on that, Jim?
We did
You
discuss.
can't, we've been in contact with CEDACOG, and CEDACOG said until DEP, who is it? Who has it? DCED.
DCED.
Until DCED comes forward with their decision, we're at their mercy.
So they didn't make a decision yet, Bill?
Well, supposedly they did,
Oh,
but
they
they're
didn't
not
tell
making it
anybody.
public yet. That's what I
They
gathered from
decision and
CEDACOG.
nobody gets to know
Right.
what it is.
We approved the developer specification.
One thing on that. We currently charge $150 for a copy. of that.
100.
$100 for a copy of that. Would anybody be open to lowering that to say $25 for both? $25 for the water, $25 for sewer.
We print it out.
Well, see, the nice thing now is that she could do it on a disk, and you'd save all that paper. You could just give him a disk,
Burn the disc.
you know? Yeah, she can burn the disk.
What, 25 bucks, is that what you want to do?
That's what I'm saying, $25. If you don't like $25, pick a number.
No. Sounds good to me. Do I have to make a
I mean, is
motion?
that gonna cover our expenses with it?
I don't know.
Well, it's better than what we're getting now, because we're not selling any of them.
Well, they do, they
Or
come
very-
in and
very
print a
few of
page,
them, let's
right?
put it that way.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
They come in and print a page.
Well, no,
Didn't you
they
tell
come
me
in and
they
just
come in
look
and
at
print
it.
a
They come
page?
in and just look at it and take their notes and, you know.
You want to? I don't care.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Need all the money we can get.
All right, been regularly moved and seconded that we lower the fee for the developer specifications to $25, correct?
Yep.
For $25 for the water, $25 for the sewer.
water and water still.
$50 total for two.
And at some point, you could put it on the website for free.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, give a consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay. Fire company plans, Purdy's fire company plans. What's,
You want to table that for next month?
all right. Margaret Street replacement. The only question I have with that, and I forgot to say something to him, is he's happy with the 4-inch forced main that's going across there, right?
Yes.
Okay. What's coming out of our lower pumping station right now?
I gotta check the drawings, I don't know for sure, I think it's 4.
4?
I think it's 4, I don't know for sure, wouldn't wanna bet my life on it.
I can't be imagining it being much bigger than that.
No. Well, I got a question on that though, which side of the bridge are we going on?
Upstream side,
Alright, how are we getting across the road?
it comes across.
We going
On 45.
We're
Ain't you
going,
looking
we
for
are
one?
going to go under, Market Street to get to the beer distributor?
It's coming across the road. I still took drawings last night. It goes on the upper stream side. It gets hung up underneath on roller hangers. Comes up, goes through, and as soon as it comes in through underneath the bridge abutment, and that turns on 45 and comes across to the beer distributor side. And it will be on the beer distributor side when they're done, capped off.
Alright, and we are going to eventually tap into that from right in front of the Legion then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, alright.
Looks like, I imagine we can probably go up underneath the dirt area of the bridge. The guy sits
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Go up in there and then tie into that.
If or PennDOT lets you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the way I see that possibly going, and then we just tie into the line up in there somewhere and terminate it, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I still think that's gonna, you know, and then whatever comes down off the hill still gives
It's
the old
gonna be,
way,
it's gonna be a plus.
but it gives us all the capacity
Right.
going underneath the line.
Yep.
Then all we gotta do is improve it from the manhole to the ball field,
Right.
which is not a lot. Okay. Discussion on a new connection and rental usage rates for the Tacovin property.
Anybody thought any more?
Yes, I think that we ought to entertain something there. I don't know. I mean, maybe the rental rate, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be the easier way of doing things. Anything else is just,
What is it we're gonna get now from that? Under
Well, he said-
present conditions.
Present conditions, he says he has 9 EDUs, 9
Okay.
times 3,500,
Is that what it
just
is?
go 10 and be benefit of the doubt, work the simple math.
$35,000 for the
$35,000.
connection. And $600 a month.
600 a month.
Yes.
At the best.
Yes. Now, could possibly be more. It depends on how much I&I is coming through that line, because as far as I'm concerned, he's paying I&I as well.
You have to.
And he has to, and he's also going to have to pay for the EDUs that the INI has taken up. In other words, if he has 10 EDUs, living capacity, and he's putting five additional EDUs in there
Yep.
as
INI.
INI,
Yep.
he's gotta buy 15 connections.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Just like your regular, all
Still
your,
be
all your
okay.
business
Because
customers.
it's still being treated.
Because, you're
Well, that
right,
would- that
because
would
it
be-
costs,
okay.
it costs us to treat it.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
And that gives him more of an incentive to get his acting.
Yeah, you don't understand the
How much
importance
money
of
do
this.
you have in that?
How much do we have in there? I think the
Oh,
last
it's on the
estimate's like
financial report,
$77,000.
$78,001.59 to date.
Yeah, but
So
we,
you got
we
four-
put the enlarged line in just for our, I mean, we wouldn't have had to put the 3-inch line up there.
No,
Well, that's only the difference in the pipe.
Yeah, the price of the pipe, that's
That
immaterial.
don't make that
Oh.
much.
No.
That's, you're looking at less than $1,000 there.
Is that
What's
right?
that?
Okay.
Did
Yeah.
the Triglia put a 3-inch
All right.
line in?
Yeah,
The Triglia, okay,
up through the meadow, or through the cornfield.
Yep,
okay, I'm sorry, yes.
yeah, we had it by the right of way, we had it.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
not
I
counting
didn't
that.
add the
That-
right
that
of
right
Oh,
of
way.
that
way-
wasn't even counting the right of way.
I didn't count the right of way, I didn't even think of that, I just started
Oh.
tracking this a
So
year or
we're
so
looking at
ago.
$80,000.
Makes the cheese more binding.
And you're gonna get 35 of it back, so you're still out some money there.
Yeah.
We're still out
Something
over
to think
half.
about.
I need to check and make sure that,
I mean, it'd be nice to put another $10 a month on that. Ain't gonna make much of it.
They ain't gonna make much
in
of
other words,
it
you'd
It's
be
gonna
setting a rate district for that property.
for that particular property, yes.
Uh,
To try to recoup what we
Are
have
you
in
thinking
the
the
construction.
connection fee would change, or just the rate? Just the-
So I was thinking both.
Connection fee's gonna put them out of business if you don't.
Because he
I mean,
fussed about
There's a limit
shaving
here,
that
and
down
I'm
to
pretty sure
9.
that'd break the camel's back. I mean,
Before
and
you
if that's what you wanna
actually,
do, fine.
No, I don't, you don't wanna.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The rate structure is gonna be one thing, that's a constant thing, it goes and goes and goes and goes and goes, you know what I'm saying? It's a slow thing, but it's more than that hard upfront hit. I don't think he.
But
I
he's
really-
gonna have to realize though, that the 10 EDUs that he actually has living in there is not the cap, is what he's gonna be paying for an EDU, for the, for usage there.
Yeah.
If he has 15, the equivalent of 15 going in there, he's gonna have to pay for 15.
No, we'll have to find that out.
No,
Okay,
you're,
is this something that you wanted to take action on tonight, or?
Well, we're gonna have to take action on it before he
So-
connects.
So, I wanna make sure that I check the procedure for setting up a rate district. I know it'll be more complicated for the tapping fee to be a different number.
Okay.
And it sounds like what I'm hearing here is maybe you wouldn't go that route anyway. I know that's gonna be more complicated than a sewer rental
Right.
rate district.
I mean, up at $10, you gain $600
Well,
in
but
5
still.
years, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
It's
not
not, I
much.
mean, but it's something, you know?
It's something toward that, the significant cost. Let
I
me
mean-
check the procedure.
The biggest thing is if he does turn around, that all disappears up there and something big is in there, well then he's got everything hooked, he got the EDUs and everything else, and then
Well, that's what
being
we're
nice, we come up with the short end of the stick on
That's
it,
what
you
we're
know what I'm
hoping for.
saying?
But we can't be perceived as
No.
being,
No,
you know,
nope. Okay,
yeah.
NDPE.
you're gonna look into this then, Dennis?
Yes.
Okay. MPDES permit, that's taken care of. Ownership of grinder pumps.
That doesn't have to be taken care of tonight, that's just something you wanna look at. Do we really wanna do it? Do we wanna continue working on them, or do we wanna give them up?
I think we need to give them up.
You gave up the commercial, right?
We
Not
gave up the
residential,
commercials,
right.
and as a new property gets connected,
Right.
or as a property changes hands, the responsibility for the maintenance of the grinder pump goes out of our control. It goes back to that property owner.
And now you're thinking just a carte blanche,
Mhm.
turn it back.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it, I mean, there's a couple ways, it will gradually get caught up and disappear and change, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah?
Sheets unused purchased EDUs, that's, they don't wanna give them up, do they?
They don't wanna give them up.
Yeah.
However, we do have an out if we wanted to exercise it, but it'll take a while. We did it when we made the proposal whenever we were dealing with Morrison. Whenever he wanted to buy all of them for buyback. Where do I have it?
Is there a shortage of?
Here it is. If this is,
capacity there?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's why
that
you'd
one
like to
is
get
right
it
now,
back.
yeah, and actually, there's a building down there that could use an EDU, or could use a connection, you'd be generating money out of it.
How many extra does he have?
I'm sorry?
How many extra does Sheets have now?
8, I think.
Holy smokes.
8 EDUs not being
That's
used.
from when they kept having to buy
Yeah,
them,
yeah.
and they fixed their
Yeah,
problems,
right.
and now they're.
They have 8 EDUs that they're not using at this time. And here, section 6.80, additional tapping fees, EDU purchases, says if EDUs are not used within 10-year period from the date of purchase, the authority will buy back any unused EDU at the following rates. And then it has a breakdown of how long they've been there.
So we gotta wait 10 years.
Have we been
From the date that they bought them.
Yeah, but are they grandfathered in? I mean,
I don't know. Are they?
My problem is you start now, give them 10 years, and if they ain't gonna use up, then we buy them back.
Well, won't they part with any? We're saying none.
you missed last
They
month's
wanna
meeting.
build a new building, you
when
you say
CC
that? Are they gonna
Yeah, they're-
use that many more even if they build a new building?
I don't know, and they don't even know now if they wanna build, they don't know if they wanna tear that down and rebuild a building,
Yeah,
or if they wanna rehab the building that's there,
yeah.
or abandon that property altogether and move to another location. So,
Gee,
they
they might
can't
move-
seem to make up their
We
minds.
could move to Deco
And that's been offered. That's been offered.
oh, God.
That would be nice.
And it's the car, see, between them, I never checked with, I only monitored the car wash.
Yeah.
Sheets also bought a whole ton of them, like 18. The store itself.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not quite that many, but and they may not be using, so there may be a lot more being,
Well,
used. I
let's
believe there
research
are.
on that, and then for next month, then we'll find out just exactly how many EDUs are tied up there that we're not getting anything from, and see whether we.
Well, we
can-
got something originally from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
we're
they
not
paid
getting
for 'em.
we're not getting anything now.
Renovation and construction of new business. Renovation and construction requires 4 Duncannon. I didn't get a chance to look at them plans.
They are in the office.
I don't imagine EDU increases minimum.
I think what they're planning on doing is just they're moving their showroom and their service center over in the parking lot there beside 11 and 15.
Are they gonna tear the old building down then?
It's my understanding that that's what they're gonna do.
And
And the old golf station. They'll tear those 2 down.
They're gonna keep the garage station over on the other side that they did the change oil
I think
change
they
stuff.
might be doing that, yeah.
Or are they gonna demo everything?
That I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
2012 budget for Duncan treatment plant.
2014.
2014, I mean,
Where you been the last 2 years?
behind schedule. Okay, that's right here.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody take a look at it, give you an idea what we have?
If you got any questions on that, March 10th would be the time to ask.
Is it up much?
Well, the one thing they didn't put on here was they used it before, they always put up here how much our share was, and they divided it by fours, so I knew the quarterly cost. So, it looks, if it's the last page on the right, our share is 193,700. Ooh. No, that's estimated Duncannon. Penn Township.
62,000.
All right, that's better.
Yeah, ours is the second one.
That's gone up a little bit because that would be 15,000 a quarter, and right now we're only paying about 13 a quarter.
Okay. Any more questions on that one? Okay, what else do I hear?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Are we sure we're done?
Yeah, we're done.
I gotta tell you this though, way you started, there was no, I was thinking sitting over here, there was
I
no
thought-
way we're getting out of here by 10 o'clock.
I was worried too.
I think you did a very good job.
Okay, who made that motion?
I did.
Okay,
Yeah, Mr.
Elmer
Ward
seconded
was,
it.
Thank you.
he was
Yeah.
actually-
Well, I guess we didn't actually say
10 after
aye.
8.
What's that?
I think it was 10 after 8 by the time you got.
It was.
Yeah, it
He had him for over an hour.
Yeah, he